A service of KIBMRadio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go! Let's go! Firefighters! Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll join Tim Collins and Chief Cody at the scene of a sudden emergency, the one known to the fire department as Emergency 99. But before we reach the spot, there is time for this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the courtyard of the fire department training school, where the square brick drill tower rises high in the air. Chief Cody and his guest, Miss Jenny Garland, had just watched a demonstration of ladder work by Tim Collins and the other men in the promotional school. And just a moment ago, you remember, Chief Cody received a message and said,
Miss Garland, you said you wanted to see the boys in action?
Yes, Chief, I do. It's just what I need for the magazine article I'm writing about your fire department.
Well, you'll see plenty of action in a minute. Just watch this. Collins?
Yes, sir.
Keep that ladder crew together. You're going to have a chance to show what you can do.
You want us to demonstrate that rescue again, Chief? Hello, Miss Garland.
Hello, Private Collins.
Collins, we have an emergency.
Trouble, sir?
Right around the corner. Emergency 99.
99. Hey, you men.
Yes, sir.
Emergency 99. Stand by to man the ladder. Where, Chief, and how high?
Scene of the emergency is the first big tree, Collins, right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
Victim is 30 feet up, refuses to come down.
Oh, she'll come down when we get there, sir. All hands, stand by to carry that 45-foot ladder. Ready? Hup! Hi, Rocky, lead off. Swing right through the gate. Come on the double. Let's go.
But, Chief Cody, they're laughing. What's so funny about an emergency?
This is 99, Miss Garland. We call it Emergency 99 because it happens 99 times a week.
What is it? What kind of emergency?
Somebody's cat is up a tree and won't come down.
Of all things. And people call the fire department for that?
Every time. So, come on if you want to see Hooksy Collins in action.
Chief Cody and Jenny Garland reached the corner in time to see Tim Collins order his ladder crew to a halt at the edge of a crowd gathered beneath a tall tree. Children, passers-by, women in aprons from nearby houses. The crowd is strangely silent.
Great blazing blisters.
Oh, dear. Chief Cody, there's somebody up in that tree. There's a boy up there, way up in those branches.
This may turn out to be serious after all.
Poor boy. He's clinging to that tree as if... Oh, dear.
What?
Oh, no, it can't be. I left him at the hotel.
Who? What are you talking about?
It is. It's Davy. It's my brother. Oh, no.
Oh, hold on there. Don't call his name.
But my brother, he'll fall. He'll be hurt.
Miss Garland, keep your head. If you startle him, he will fall.
Oh.
His only chance is to hang on, just as he's doing.
But I've got to. I must. Oh, what can I do if anything happens to Davy?
Just leave it to Collins, Miss Garland, and don't make a sound. Now, look. Collins is keeping the crowd quiet. All right, there goes the ladder. With hardly a sound.
All right, steady that ladder, boys. All right, now run up the extension. That's it. That's it. Now ease the ladder into place. Don't jar that branch. Don't jar that branch. He might lose his grip. All right. Now steady all. I'm going up. All right, hang on tight, boy. Yeah, you're a smart kid. You're going to be all right. Smart to keep your eyes closed. No, you don't have to talk. You don't have to move. This is the fire department, son. We'll take care of you.
I can't. Look, I'll have to jump before I fall.
You're not going to fall. Now, just hang on to that tree. Now, I'm going to put my arm around you, but you hang on just the same. There. Now I'm holding you. That's right. Hang on. Now, let me have your foot. Easy now. Easy. You can't fall. I'm holding you. There, one foot on the ladder. Now the other one. Come on, relax. That's it. Let me plant your foot on this ladder. There.
Now let go of the tree.
I can't. I can't let go.
Oh, you feel my arm around you? You can't fall. Not a chance. You're safe, boy.
I know, but my arms won't let go.
All right. No hurry. What's your name, son?
Davy. My name is Davy. I'm Davy Garland. I can't let go.
Davy Garland? Well, what do you know? Are you any relation to Miss Jenny Garland? She writes for magazines, you know.
Jenny's my sister. She brought me with her this trip. I was supposed to stay at the hotel, but I went for a walk.
Huh?
How did you get me on this ladder?
You got to talking and forgot to be scared. That's the secret, Davy. You can do anything if you forget to be scared.
But I still I feel like falling. I can't climb down the ladder. I'll never get down.
All right, Davy. All right. There's no hurry. While we wait, let me show you something. One of the tricks we firemen use.
A fireman's trick?
Uh-huh. Now, see, I'm standing right behind you. You feel my arms under yours?
You're holding me up.
Uh-huh. Relax your grip and see. There. Yeah, see what I mean? You're hanging right on my arms when you let go. And when we start down, I'll keep on holding you.
But then we'll both fall together.
Oh, not a chance. Now, look what happens when we step down to the next rung. Now, come on, just drop one foot.
Like this.
That's it. You feel how I guide your foot to the next rung?
You made my foot go right where it should. How did you do that?
All right, I'll show you. Now, come on, Davy, drop your other foot.
This is easy.
That's it. Now, one after another, just like going downstairs backwards. And another. And another.
Oh.
And another.
Steady, Miss Garland. Just a moment more. Collins is walking and talking him down to safety.
Oh.
There. That does it. They're on the ground. Oh, Collins, bring that boy over here.
Oh, dear. I feel as if I were up in that tree myself. Just going to fall.
Miss Garland, look what I picked up for you up in that tree.
Oh.
Davy, you recognize this young lady?
Oh, hi, sis. What are you doing here? Did you see me on the ladder?
Davy, how could you?
Oh, I forgot. I was supposed to stay at the hotel, but honest, sis, I didn't know what to do with myself. It got so tiresome and...
Davy, I'm so glad you're safe. I can't even scold you, but...
Oh, up in that tree, I thought I was a goner.
No, don't let it bother you, Davy. Anybody gets dizzy if he's not used to climbing.
You're not the first one we've had to bring down the ladder that way, son.
Next time, any cat that wants to can stay up in a tree forever before I go after her.
Oh, the funny thing is that cats usually come down when they're good and ready. We just go after them sometimes because people get worried and keep pestering the poor cats until they're afraid to come down.
Well, ma'am, I guess you want to take Davy back to your hotel. Collins, you'd better pick up and get back to the drill yard with your ladder crew.
Yes, sir.
Oh, but how can we thank you? Private Collins, you saved my brother's life.
All in the day's work, Miss Garland. All right, boys. All right. Stand by to carry that ladder.
Chief Cody, don't let him rush away.
He's on duty, ma'am. He's doing his job.
Now, take care of yourself, Davy, and keep out of those treetops until you grow a couple of wings.
Oh, you bet, Mr. Collins.
But please, Hupsy.
Pick up that ladder. Up. All right, Rocky, lead off. So long, Miss Garland.
Oh, dear, there's so much I wanted to ask him.
Hmm?
For my magazine article, Chief Cody, you've shown me the whole fire department. But a man like that, fighting fire every day, just think how he could help me with my notes.
Yes, I see what you mean. You're leaving the city tomorrow, you said.
Tonight would be my last chance to go over my notes with Private Collins.
And that story you're writing, that's going to be a big thing for the department. Well, Miss Garland, as chief, I think it can be arranged. You and Davy go back to your hotel. I'll see what I can do.
Did Chief Cody call Davy?
No, he didn't, sis. You're sure Mr. Collins is coming?
I know he is.
How do you know?
Chief Cody promised. He should be here any minute, Davy.
Well, I'll answer it.
No, Davy. This is Miss Garland.
Is it Mr. Collins, Jenny?
Oh, yes, please. Ask him to come right up to our suite.
May I stay here?
No, David. He's going to help me with my notes. Why don't you go to the next room? I'll call you when we're through working.
Jenny, I will not. I want to see him again. It was my life he saved, wasn't it?
Well, maybe for just a minute.
Oh, here he is. Come in, Mr. Collins.
So Davy Garland will have a chance to talk again with his hero, Tim Collins, in the hotel apartment high above the city, to which Chief Cody has sent Tim for a conference with a visiting writer, Miss Jenny Garland. For the outcome of that conference, be sure to listen to our next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. And now, in just a moment, Chief Bob Cody will tell all you boys and girls how you can help the firefighters in your own hometown. But first, here's a message you ought to hear. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your friend, Chief Cody, with another item to add to that list you're keeping. Our brigade list of common fire causes. So write this down. Poor housekeeping. Now, that doesn't mean that there's dust on the furniture. It means we let papers and rubbish pile up, and we leave cleaning fluids and paint uncovered, so that dangerous fumes can escape. Now, these are fire hazards under the heading of poor housekeeping. And poor housekeeping causes fire. Remember that. And so long for now.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's roll! Let's go! Firefighters!
Pepsi-Cola, P-E-P-S-I. That's your smartest cola buy. Pepsi-Cola presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy. Calling Washington. United States Counterspy, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad. Tonight, the case of the fabulous formula, a thrilling counter-spy report for the American people. Brought to you each Tuesday and Thursday by delicious Pepsi-Cola. And now, another report to the American people. In your family's interest, listen to these findings, recently released by the United States Testing Company, Incorporated. After thorough and impartial tests, Pepsi-Cola proved of highest purity. Pepsi-Cola has more quick food energy and value, ounce for ounce, than any other leading nationally known cola. Yes, tested, compared against all other leading nationally known cola drinks, Pepsi-Cola won out. You get the best and twice as much in delicious Pepsi-Cola. And now to Counterspy. On the morning of March 14th, 1950, Dr. Frederick Ziegler, eminent scientist in chemical research, was in the secret basement laboratory of his home on the outskirts of Philadelphia, talking to his assistant, Anthony Kirk.
Kirk, my boy, I finished the experiment. That is why I called you. I wanted you to be one of the first to hear the good news.
Well, I really appreciate that, Dr. Ziegler. Of course, you never did tell me just what the experiment was.
Well, now I feel free to tell you, Kirk. What I have accomplished will be vitally important to our national defense. Come over here to the left table.
All right.
Just a moment till I unlock this door.
Okay.
Well, Kirk, here it is.
It looks like mica.
It is mica, my boy. In a way.
In a way?
It is an artificially produced matter with all the invaluable properties of mica inherent. With the formula I developed, an unlimited amount of this matter can be chemically manufactured quickly and inexpensively.
What about the formula itself?
It's all down here in this book.
Is that right?
Thanks, Doctor. Oh, Kirk.
I'm keeping this formula.
Keeping. Now, stop joking, my boy. Come now, give me this.
Stay right where you are.
Kirk!
Now you can see I'm not joking. Unless this gun amuses you.
What, Boy, what has gotten into you?
Sit down, Doctor. On that lab stool there.
But Kirk...
Sit down. Don't you try to move.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to perform an experiment of my own. Just for you. Now watch closely. I take some cotton out of the wrapper in the medical aid kit here. That's the first step. Now the second step. I pour some of this nitroglycerin onto a handful of the cotton. And then I let it soak through for a moment and dry a bit in the air. And then I stuff it into this crucible on the lab table in front of you. Now, Doctor, what do you think of my experiment so far?
You have made gun cotton.
Uh-huh. A simple but effective explosive. Now we need a fuse to ignite our gun cotton, don't we? So we pull out a long strand of the cotton, stretching at the length of the lab table like this. Now, we're all set to make the test.
You're going to kill me.
Oh, no, Dr. Ziegler. You're killing yourself. You see, chemical labs are notoriously dangerous places in which to work. You're going to have an accident which destroys not only you, but seemingly your formula, too.
Kirk, I hope when they get you...
Sorry, no time for bitterness. Goodbye, Doctor. Thanks for everything.
And drive back here to Washington immediately. Meet me in the lobby of the National Standards Bureau. At 2 o'clock, we are scheduled for an important defense matter conference with Mr. Carton.
Well, Rudolph, that's the whole story. The explosion went off just as I stepped out of the side door.
Now, Kirk, you're sure about Dr. Ziegler's housekeeper, huh?
Positive. Today is her day off.
And you're also sure that the formula on these pages you gave me is complete?
There's no mistake about that, Rudolph.
Good.
There's Freddie now.
Yeah, wait a minute. I'll let him in. Come on in, Freddie. You.
Well, nice work in getting that formula, Kirk, old chap. Thanks for the compliment, Freddie, but right now I'm more interested in getting paid off for my work and leaving Philly.
I received a message from the contact. This note was delivered to me a half hour ago. Read it, Rudolph. Find the living symbol of an empire, and you'll discover it's educational and entertaining.
Yes, those are the directions where to meet the contact, whoever he may be. What kind of a stupid kid's game is this? Freddie, you told Rudolph and me we'd get our share when we delivered the formula.
Yes, when it's delivered to the contact. Well, I've been working a bit on this cryptogram. The living symbol of an empire. All right. The British Empire. The lion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me see that again. Lion, educational, and entertaining.
Sure, the public library. No, you forget, old thing. It says living symbol. Those are stone lines.
Now, look, I've done all the dirty work so far, and I won money for it, not puzzles. I won money.
Hold on, Kirk.
What now?
Lions. Living symbols. Yes. Come along, you two.
Where are we going, Freddie?
Why, to the Lion House, Rudolph, old chap. The Lion House in the Park Zoo.
Miss Carson, Mr. Harding, and Mr. Peters are here.
Have them come in. And Miss White.
Yes, sir?
I don't want any interruptions for the next half hour.
Very well, Mr. Carson. Gentlemen, will you come in, please?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carson.
Afternoon, Mr. Harding.
How are you, Mr. Peters?
Fine, thank you.
Please sit down, gentlemen. I had just sent for some lunch. Join me?
No, thank you, but I would take a Pepsi-Cola. Make that 2.
Miss White, please add 2 Pepsis to my order.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Harding, I've been keeping you informed about Dr. Frederick Ziegler of Philadelphia and his efforts to compound artificial mica.
Yes.
Well, at last he has succeeded.
Oh?
Yes, I got a call from him early this morning.
That's wonderful news, Mr. Carson. Well, I suppose you'd like the counterspy to keep the doctor, his home, and his private laboratory under surveillance. Is that it?
That's it exactly.
Well, on the way upstairs here, I started to brief Peters on the importance of artificial mica. Mr. Carson, maybe you'd like to take the ball for me.
Glad to. Mr. Peters, the Department of National Defense has a very special interest in mica.
Yes, Mr. Harding got that far. It's used in radar and radio apparatus.
A very strategic material for such equipment, and our supply of it in its natural state could be readily cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, the United States used 10,000 tons of mica, and all but 135 tons came from abroad.
Then Dr. Ziegler's really got something there.
Yes, he most certainly has. Now we'll be supplied with mica in unlimited quantity. Pardon me. Miss White, didn't I tell you I wanted no interruptions?
I'm sorry, sir, but this is very important. It's about Dr. Ziegler. He's dead.
What?
The doctor's housekeeper just called. The doctor was killed in an explosion in his basement laboratory. They haven't been able to reach his assistant, Anthony Kirk, as yet.
Thank you, Miss White. You heard that, gentlemen?
Yes. Peters, call the airport. Tell them to have my plane ready. We're getting to Dr. Ziegler's lab in Philadelphia as fast as we can.
Nasty, huh, Dave?
Very nasty, Peters. After the explosion, the papers on the table here must have caught fire.
I wonder what Ziegler was doing when the explosion went off.
Well, from the way it looks, he was mixing something in his crucible. Peters. Look at this on the side of his forehead.
Yeah. Small blue marks, like
letters. One of them reversed. C-O-T. Something with printing on it was blown against his head, blown hard enough to leave the imprint of those letters. C-O-T. Wonder. Wait. That first aid chest over there on the wall. Peters, look at this package of cotton. Part of the label has been torn away with the letters T-O-N left on it. I think we have the answer to the explosion, Peters. Gun cotton.
Gun cotton?
Plain medical cotton, probably soaked with nitroglycerin. A crude but most lethal explosive.
Gotcha, Chief. The fragment of the wet label blew against the side of Ziegler's head, imprinting the letters.
Exactly.
That means the explosion was definitely no accident.
Definitely. It was a scientific murder, planned to hide the theft of a vital American defense secret.
Flying house. Rudolph, if I'd known after a year of being cooped up with a nutty old scientist, I'd be playing games in the dark in the park zoo.
Easy does it, Kirk, old boy.
Look, Friday, I don't go for this waiting any more than Kirk. Not knowing who the contact is or when he'll show, and me carrying practically TNT in my coat pocket.
Violet, 25 seconds. Violet, gentlemen.
Look, we don't want any. Hey, watch where you're going.
Violet, you're a pretty lady. Only 25 cents a buck.
I said no. Get out of here. Beat it.
No need to be surly, Rudolph. Here's a few coins, Mother. You can keep the posies. Just hop along like a good old girl, eh?
Yes, sir. And take care, sir.
Right.
Violet. Violet.
You're a smart one, Freddie. Why'd you give that old dame a handout? She's liable to remember us. And
did it occur to you, Rudolph, that your ugliness may have made a more lasting impression if I hadn't amended matters with a few coins? Freddie is right, Rudolph.
Freddie is right. Okay. Only you two are beginning to give me a rope.
Rudolph.
What happened to him, Freddie?
There, Kirk.
You can see now what happened. A knife in his back.
Who threw it? Where did it come from?
There's no time to worry about that now. I've got to get out of here quickly.
The formula.
In his topcoat pocket. Hurry, get it.
Okay, fine.
Well, Kirk, don't stand there. Now that you have the formula, let's skip along. I haven't the formula.
What's that?
Here. Look at these pages. Nothing on them. They're blank.
In a moment, back to Counterspy, presented by delicious Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, skip the spot, 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Twice as much and better, too.
Yes, twice as much and better, too. You know Pepsi gives you twice as much. You know Pepsi's better, tastes better. But I want to make sure you know which cola drink is of proven highest quality. Listen, impartial tests were made comparing all the leading nationally known colas. And here's the news. Delicious Pepsi was rated top for quick food energy and honest-to-goodness value, ounce for ounce. Yes, more value and quick food energy in every tasty sip of Pepsi. That's why Pepsi's so refreshing. Why you feel so good. Why you're on the feet. Why people call Pepsi their favorite treat. When the quality's prove top and the taste is so delightful, so refreshing that you bubble and the quantity is double. Say, is it any wonder Pepsi's America's big, big favorite? Insist on tasty Pepsi wherever you may be. At the fountain, say, Pepsi, please. At the stand, say, Pepsi, please. And at the store, get Pepsi in the money-saving carton of 6 big bottles. How about getting a carton tonight of delicious Pepsi-Cola?
Delicious Pepsi-Cola, delicious Pepsi-Cola, delicious Pepsi-Cola, delicious Pepsi-Cola.
And now, back to Counterspy.
Attention all counterspies in Philadelphia sector. Blue alert. Repeat, blue alert. This is David Harding. Wanted, Anthony Kirk, for the murder of Dr. Frederick Ziegler and the theft of a vital national defense secret. Warning, proceed with caution. Kirk is probably armed and will fire to avoid capture. This man must be apprehended, dead or alive.
We'll be out of the park in a few moments, Kirk. Lucky no one saw us near Rudolph. What bothers me, Freddy, is what could have happened to the formula that was in Rudolph's pocket. I have an idea, Kirk, that Rudolph was trying a bit of fancy business on us. You mean a double cross? Right. It probably left the formula papers in the apartment. Sleight of hand, you know? All right, but who threw that knife? I have an idea about that, too, old chap. I believe that knife was meant for one of us. What? I believe Rudolph's plan, with the help of an accomplice, was to rid himself of us one at a time. Oh, he stepped in the wrong direction and got the knife and... Here, hold up, old chap. What's wrong? Up the walk a bit. The flower woman. We can't let her see us. It's too late now. She's coming this way. What do? We still have luck on our side, old boy. It's getting quite dark. No one's in sight. The bushes on either side of the walk will afford excellent protection. Protection? What do you mean? For what? For an ugly but necessary action. All right, here she comes.
Violet. Only 25 cents to buy. Violet?
Hello, Mother. Well, don't you remember me?
Oh, yes. You're the kind gentleman who was at the zoo. I'm glad I met you again. There's something I want to repay.
Well, this is the place to do it.
So it is, Freddie.
But, hey, what is this? She's not an old woman at all.
But even you didn't recognize me, did you, Freddie?
Vivian! But I had no idea you were the contact. Freddie, who is she? Well, Kirk, old chap, I have the honor to present you to Vivian Lawrence.
Your unknown employer, Kirk.
I don't get all this.
Well, I'll be brief, Kirk. I got the formula from Rudolph's pocket back at the zoo. And it was I who threw the knife which killed Rudolph. A knife just like this one.
Oh, but why did you do it? Rudolph was working for you, as I was.
You used exactly the proper tense, Kirk. As you were. All right, Freddie. Drag him into the bushes and we'll be on our way.
Harding, go ahead, Peters.
I'm in the city park, Dave. We've located Anthony Kirk.
Yes?
He's got a knife in his chest. A passerby heard him groaning in the bushes. Kirk is the second stabbing victim found in the park within 10 minutes. The other one is dead.
What about the formula?
No sign of it, Dave. Kirk hasn't talked so far. The ambulance doc says he may not be alive by the time they reach City Hospital.
Peters, get into that ambulance. Have them go by way of Market Street. I'll intercept you as fast as I can.
Kirk, here's Mr. Harding, Chief of the United States Counterspy. I want you to listen to what he says.
Kirk, you're dying. Talking now, telling the truth, can only help. The doctor said you have perhaps 5 minutes at the outside.
5 minutes? It's your last chance to do one decent thing, Kirk.
You did kill Dr. Ziegler.
I killed him. And you stole the mica formula. Yes.
Where is it?
She has it.
Go ahead, Kirk. She. Who is she? Her name, Kirk.
Name? Liv. Try, Kirk. Try. Vivian Lawrence.
He's dead.
Vivian Lawrence.
Familiar to you, Peters?
Sure is, Dave. We had plenty of trouble with that dame before Pearl Harbor when she was poking around over here for the Tin Caesars.
The cleverest operator in the business.
You'd say that again. Clever enough to get back into this country without detection.
Yes, and clever enough to get out and sell that formula to the highest bidder, unless we work as we've never worked before.
Hurry with those drinks, Freddie.
Righto. Now we continue with our program of musical interludes.
Hey, it worked rather well, eh, Vivian?
Naturally, Freddie. Everything I planned works well.
Really, old dear, you have such a positive nature.
Well, I'd have been dead years ago if I didn't, old dear. Now, what about those drinks?
Righto. Here you are.
Thank you.
Well, a toast, Vivian. Here's to this city of brotherly love from which we extracted such a prize.
To Philadelphia, Freddie. And $1 million worth of American scientific ingenuity.
I must interrupt this program to bring you a special message from Mr. David Harding, Chief of the United States Counterspies. Mr. Harding.
What could that dull soul like to say? I'll change the station.
No, wait. Let it alone.
Good evening. Your counterspies have just learned the identity of the person who has stolen the formula of a secret American scientific development.
Vivian.
That person's name is Vivian Lawrence.
Vivian.
Quiet.
Now, you can help your government by being on the alert, on a constantly sharp lookout for any woman who resembles the description which I will give to you, and reporting such person to your nearest counterspy field office. Now, here's the detailed description of Vivian Lawrence. She is 36 years of age. Height?
We'll get out of this city.
Yes, but where will we go? What do we do?
I've found ways out before, and I'll find one now.
Hello, operator. Get me the sheriff's office. Hello, Sheriff. This is Bill Sampson. I operate the gas station on Seminary Hill Road, 5 miles east of the Crystal Railroad crossing. There's a man and a woman outside in a car, a blue Cadillac sedan, pulled up for gas. I'm stalling them. I'm sure the woman is that Vivian Lawrence I heard about on the radio. Positive. The car's got a Pennsylvania license number on it. Number is N6574R. They're going in the direction of the railroad crossing. All right, Sheriff. I'll try to stall them as long as I can. Now, will you let me alone, lady? I did what you told me. You won't shoot that gun, will you, lady? You go away and let me alone.
All taken care of, Freddie. Step on it.
Attention all counterspies and cooperating local police, Inspector D, State of Pennsylvania. Attention. This is David Harding in Control Car X1. Information just received that Vivian Lawrence is driving along Seminary Hill Road, due west, in direction of Crystal Railroad Crossing. Car is a blue Cadillac sedan. License number Pennsylvania N6574R. All patrols will converge on area. Roadblocks will be set up at all intersections. I'm on my way there now to supervise operations.
Vivian, I still don't see why you purposely put the bobbies on us.
Freddie, I'm getting out of this present difficulty, and I'm just making sure.
They'll be swarming along this road at any moment.
Just as I planned they should.
Well, it all sounds balmy to me.
How does that sound to you, Freddie?
What, that train whistle in the distance?
That train is going to be my ticket to sure escape. Don't stop.
But there's a railroad crossing ahead.
Never mind that warning signal. Drive up on the crossing and park.
But the train's coming.
Yes, in exactly 1 minute it will round the curve before the crossing. I've calculated everything down to the last second.
Oh, I've got you, old girl. The police know this car and the license number. They'll believe, if only at first, that we were killed in the crash, thus giving us time to escape. Am I correct?
Correct, Freddie. Except for one detail. You will die in the crash.
What?
Don't move. I have this gun pointed right at you.
Vivian.
Sorry, Freddie. But you'll serve my purpose better in death.
No, see here, old thing. You wouldn't play a trick like that on Freddie. After all.
Just to prove how wrong you are.
Vivian.
Let go of me.
No. You're staying here with
No,
me.
I am. The train will be here.
The joke's on you, old girl.
No.
You're dying with me.
No, I say let go.
The boys have given me the preliminary reports, Mr. Harding. Everything checked, Peters? Well, the car is splattered all over, but it was definitely a blue Cadillac sedan.
Yeah.
The license plate was found, too.
Wonder just how it happened, Peters.
Well, I guess they tried to race the train to the crossing.
That was it. They certainly lost that race.
Anyway, Dave, the government will be spared the expense of bringing Vivian Lawrence to trial.
Well, Vivian Lawrence may be dead, Peters, but the important thing now is to have our men keep searching this area for the formula. Once that's found, we can mark the file on this case closed.
Ah, delicious Pepsi-Cola. Bring it on now. Enjoy that bubbling, tangy, tasty treat. Sure hits the spot. At parties, it's a wonderful idea to serve delicious Pepsi. That extra quick food energy gives folks that bounce, that zing. And Pepsi's big 12-ounce bottles go twice as far. You get a carton of 6 bottles, and you serve 12 full-size drinks. So save that money. Get the best and get twice as much in delicious Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, it's the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Twice as much and better, too. Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you.
That's it. Delicious Pepsi-Cola. Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, same time, same station, to Counterspy. Listen on Thursday for more facts in the exciting case of the fabulous formula.
After the train wreck had been thoroughly investigated, we found our triumph had been short-lived. Your Counterspy discovered something which started the search for the fabulous formula all over again and led us to a serpent in a box. Listen on Thursday for
more facts in the case of the fabulous formula on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York and was directed by Leonard L. Bass, dramatized by Edward Adamson, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer, with music by Jesse Crawford. This is Jay Jackson speaking. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production for Pepsi-Cola. Enjoy some delicious Pepsi tonight.
It was only a gambler's marker, a promise to pay worth $1,000. And I was hired to find it, which sounded easy, until I realized that it meant the whole future to two men, freedom to a third, and death to the girl in the cottage.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Promise to Pay.
It started over a bottle of port at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when Mama Nodella, a proud old lady who ran a restaurant, bet me I couldn't prepare a dish of chicken cacciatore. I never pass up a bet. So at 5:30, I picked up a can of chicken, and at 6 had gone to work on it. At 7:15, everything was ready for the pan, and my enthusiasm was at a high ebb, until the telephone rang. And what I thought was a check call from Mama Nodella turned out instead to be Garfield Randall. He was a used-to-be client who at 32 was currently setting the L.A. business world on its ear.
Say, Harlow, did you see the article about me in this morning's paper?
Young Randall, probably next head of Continental Land and Trust?
Yes, that's it.
Chairman of the board, isn't it, Gar?
Yes. Job I've been after for 2 years.
So?
Well, it's a job that'll go to somebody else at noon tomorrow, Phil. Unless you can get me out of a nasty mess I'm in.
What's her name?
Terry How did you know it was a woman?
It's a trade secret. What do you want me to do?
Well, come over here to my place, 91 Laurel Canyon, immediately. I'll explain then. You can make it, can't you, Phil? I mean, now, right away?
Yeah, I guess so. Right away, Gar. But it hurts. Arrivederci, cacciatore.
Oh, come in, Marlowe, quickly. I'm due there at 8, and it's almost that now.
Small point, Gar, but just where is there?
Oh, Terry Dodge's cottage over in the valley, 3840 Sunsweat Drive, just beyond Arthur Murray's place on Ventura. I'm expected because the lady wants $20,000 to keep her mouth shut.
About what?
The fact that a few days ago, an innocent evening with some new friends ended up with me gambling and losing $1,000 at Paul Naylor's club on Lancashire Boulevard, also in the valley, 3100 North. I didn't have the cash on me, so he took my IOU.
Your marker would interest who in particular?
Only the entire board of directors of Continental Land and Trust. They feel their executives should be above that sort of thing, even once in a while.
Mm-hmm. And this Terry Dodge, can she prove that you lost $1,000 gambling?
Well, according to this message here, yes. Came a few minutes before I called you, together with my picture, which she returned, frame and all. Here.
No. God, dear, I gave Naylor the $1,000 and pick up your note as requested. But now I'm confused. Do I give it back to you or submit it to your board of directors tomorrow? Oh, by the way, the chinchilla we saw last week is on sale. I hear only $20,000 it bought right away. Probably cost more tomorrow.
See what I mean?
Yeah. Drop around and see me at 8 tonight, will you? I'd like your advice on the matter. Much love, Terry. P.S. Don't worry about the safety of the note, darling. I have the perfect hiding place for it. Tender, huh? Tell me, Gar, how close were you and this vampire?
Oh, we went together for about a year, but it was getting cold.
Because you've been on the way up?
Because she's been on the way down, Marlowe.
Why'd you give her the money to deliver in the first place?
Well, you see, Phil, I couldn't afford to go near a gambler like Paul Naylor once I'd been nominated for the chairmanship. Of course, I didn't suspect for a minute that Terry would do anything like this. So when I didn't hear from Terry by 6, I called Naylor. He told me that she had already delivered the money, but he also told me that she'd burned the note in front of him at his suggestion.
Which might mean that Terry Dodge is just bluffing, you know.
Yes, or that Paul Naylor is just lying. Your job, Phil, is to find out the truth as soon as possible.
And if I do and the note does exist, what then, Guy?
Then I pay. I have to. It's my whole future.
Yeah. Call you in an hour, Gar, from the valley. After Randall generously settled the matter of my fee with 2 crisp $100 bills, I got into my car and wound through Laurel Canyon into the San Fernando Valley and Sunswept Drive, where I parked away from number 3840, which was the kind of all-alone green and white ivy-choked cottage that life insurance ads wonder if you'll own when you're 65 and out of work. With one exception. The place was lit up like opening night at a Hollywood delicatessen. And when I got close to the front door, which was half open and splashing bright yellow over the mat-marked welcome, I heard a radio from someplace deep inside, playing slow, sad swing. When I knocked twice and got only more Dixieland for an answer, I walked in, calling Terry Dodge's name out loud as I moved through the empty living room. I couldn't tell why, but even as I said the name, I had the uncomfortable feeling that I was wasting my breath. And a minute later, when I entered the bedroom, I was sure of it. Because there, every drawer, closet, and cubbyhole had been turned inside out. And in the middle of all that, and face up on the carpet, was the still form of a beautiful blonde woman in a black silk hostess gown. The monogram in white over her breast pocket said she was Terry Dodge. The ugly circle of dark red on the side of her head said she was dead. Next to her body, I found the pieces of 2 airline tickets for Mexico City. Beyond that, the brass candelabra that had killed her. I dropped the tickets into my pocket and then went back to the living room and a telephone called my client. But when I reached for it, it went off. Hello?
Hello, who is this?
Friend of the family. Why?
Oh, I'm curious by nature, friend of the family. Now, is Terry there?
Yeah. She can't come to the phone right now. Any message?
Yeah, there is. Tell her Rip Stranigan wants to talk to, if you don't mind.
I don't. Oh, Terry. It's Rip Stranigan. What? Okay. Sorry, Stranigan. She'll have to call you back in a minute and...
And what?
And excuse me, but an unexpected visitor just dropped in. A beautiful one at that. With a gun.
Which she knows how to use very well.
The lady was tall with dark eyes and darker hair. It framed her face the color of warm honey, and she was wearing something white and plunging, which from the waist up had all the material in it of the average necktie.
Who are you?
Rip Stranigan. Mean anything?
Only that you're a liar. I've seen Stranigan, and in the first place, Terry's boyfriend's an ex-football player about twice your size.
Oh?
Also, he's from Texas, and you couldn't be.
No.
And just between us, you're much better looking. So once more, who are you?
Little boy Blue, who are you?
Me? Why, I'm Annabelle, Terry's sister.
Always come home with a 38 in your hand?
Well, I only used this gun, Mr. Blue, because I thought you were a prowler. No. With the radio off so you can concentrate, how about the truth?
All right. I'm a private detective named Philip Marlowe. Came here to talk to Terry Dodge. When I found the door open and nobody home, I decided to wait. Now I can't wait any longer because I'm late for an appointment. So if you'll tell Terry I called, I'll appreciate it. Good night, Annabelle.
Wait a minute before you go, one thing.
What's that?
You were wrong about being little boy Blue.
Oh?
You're prettier. Good night.
My ego sent the lady went for me. But my professional cynicism labeled her local Matahari and suggested that I keep both feet on the ground. So when I was out of her sight at the front door, I tried the oldest trick in the book, which was opening it and then slamming it hard from the inside, which worked. Because when I quietly moved back to where we'd been standing, she was already in the bedroom. And I was glad to hear, surprised at what she'd found there. When she ran back into the living room, her face now the color of wet ashes, grabbed for the telephone and dialed a number that was more than the 3 digits that would bring the police.
Hello?
I was close enough to hear what she
This
said.
is Maxine. She's dead. Yes, in her bedroom, and the place has been turned upside down. So somebody else is after that note, too. No, only a private detective named Marlowe. Well, he didn't act like it, said he was waiting for her. I'll tell you all about it later when I see... What? Keep looking. Listen, maybe you didn't understand me. Terry Dodge is dead. She's been murdered. Well, Maxine Rossi doesn't want to be standing around with jam on her face when the police arrive. It's hard on the reputation. Well, all right, one more look around, but believe me, it'll be a fast one. Goodbye.
When she hung up and inched back toward the bedroom like it was a snake pit, I headed for the door and kept going until I was outside and over to where I'd left my car parked in the shadow of a huddle of dwarf palms. But then as I was about to get in, what I thought was just another tree reached out with both hands, grabbed me by the lapels, and slammed me hard against the side of my own car. Before I could get back onto my feet, what had to be the ex-gridiron great from Texas had both my gun and my wallet out and was smiling with more teeth than I'd ever seen before.
Well, the friend of the family is a private detective, I see.
Yeah, and the athlete's a scholar. He reads.
Shut up, Marlowe. Smart aleck talk won't get you out of this. Now, what were you doing in my girl's apartment?
Looking for a blackmailer named Terry Dodge. And before you get all worked up, Muscles, make up your mind. You want the truth or hot air out of me?
You got a lot of nerve, fella.
Doesn't answer the question.
All right. I'll take the truth. But if it's anything but that, I'll break you in two. Now start talking. Why'd you call Terry a blackmailer?
Because until tonight she was up to a mascara and a deal that called for a man named Garfield Randall to pay her $20,000 to keep his future intact.
I don't believe you. I never heard her speak that name.
Proves the point, Stranigan. They've been going together off and on for a year now.
What? Why, just last night Terry told me that she didn't even want to see any other man.
And as of last night, that might have been the truth. Because a few hours ago, this Randall got his framed picture back from her with interest.
The demand for the $20,000?
The same. Stranigan, what would you say if I told you Terry Dodge has been murdered?
No, Marlowe! You're lying!
Flanagan, let go of my throat!
Lying!
Throat, do you hear? Let go!
Let go! I'm sorry, fella. Do you have any idea who did it?
Yeah, but there's still a little groundwork to be done before I go to the police.
You mean nobody knows about this yet?
Outside of a girl named Maxine Rossi, someone she talked to on the telephone, and the murderer? No. Now tell me, Stranigan, did you ever hear Terry speak of either this Rossi girl or a gambling note that a guy named Paul Naylor held?
No, I didn't, Marlowe. But where do those two fit in?
That, Stranigan, comes under the heading of groundwork. Now, if you can keep all this under your sombrero until you hear from me again, I'll take my gun and wallet and get going. What do you say?
I say yes. On one condition, Marlowe. When you do get to the killer, I'll get first crack at him.
Fair enough. Now, where can I reach you?
4812 North Ogden Drive. You think you'll need any help?
I don't know. Paul Naylor's my next stop, and according to the talk downtown, he's a hard man to get next to. I'll call you later. The club Paul Naylor ran out on North Lancashire didn't have a name, but the numbers 3100 were taped with luminous Scotch light. Easy to find. However, unless you knew the man behind the peephole, you were nowhere. So 20 minutes later, when I was out of my car and walking toward the steel-plated back door, I decided that getting in to see the head man of the house had to be approached like that was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. I stayed in the shadows of the building, moved a slow step at a time, until I saw a little oily man in a pink shirt, white knit tie, and fuzzy black fedora nearby notice me. Then I moved faster until I was at the steel door, and so was he, with a .45 in his hand.
Lost something, mister?
No. I was, what's the gun for?
Trespassers. These are private grounds.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I'll leave right away. I thought this was...
Never mind what you thought. Now get over there, stand very still while I make a phone call inside.
Phone call? What for, cops?
No, stupid. The gentleman who lives here, Mr. Paul Naylor. I think he'd like to talk to you while you can still talk.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, a man who knows something about cars makes a better driver than a man who's completely blank about what's underneath the hood. And in the same way, a man who knows something about our American economic system is able to be a better citizen than a man who hasn't any idea at all about what makes the wheels go around. Understanding our system of mass production enables one to feel renewed pride in the high standard of living this kind of production has helped provide. And it's understanding, too, that enables us to work at some of our system's defects, like sharp ups and downs in prices and jobs. So read, study, listen. And with all of us working together, we can increase our productivity still further and provide for even wider distribution of benefits. Now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Promise to Pay.
The oily little man in the pink silk shirt spoke briefly into the phone, then breathed garlic in my face while his free hand darted neatly inside my jacket. I came out at 38 with it. Then he jerked me around, unlocked the heavy back door, shoved me through, and marched me on the business end of his 45 down a strip of blue carpet ankle deep to another door of glossy blonde mahogany. He slammed me face first up against it, and then signaled for an audience. When the door swung open, he prodded me, and I stumbled into an office of jungle green drapes and pale beige furniture upholstered in leopard skin. The face that peered at me over 8 feet of desktop smiled. From the ears down. From the ears up, it had never known what smiling meant.
We have a front door for our friends.
I know. That's why I went to the back. I figured I'd pick up an escort there and bypass all that muscular red tape you keep out in front.
Maybe that's smart figuring, maybe not. Depends. What do you want?
Call you a liar, Naylor.
Oh!
Mind your manners, stupid. You're way out of line.
You're building up quite an account, Oily.
You take some long chances, mister. What's your name?
Marlowe. I still want to know why you lied to a friend of mine about burning his marker.
Marlowe, huh? Wait outside, Quincy. I'll call you.
Okay, Mr. Miller.
All right, Marlowe. So you're Randall's boy, right?
I've talked to him. When Randall called you, you told him that his girl, Terry Dodge, had delivered the money okay, but that you saw her burn his marker.
That's what I thought I saw at the time.
What'd you really see?
She put the marker in her purse and started out of here, but I called her back and told her to burn it.
Why?
Because I don't like my name floating around Marlowe, especially now, with things tightened up like they are. So she went over to the fireplace there and burned a piece of paper.
But it wasn't the note, huh?
Bright boy. That call from Randall gave me ideas. I checked the pieces left in the fireplace, and they weren't even the same kind of paper as the marker. So somebody's shooting an angle, Marlowe, one with my name on it. I don't like that.
I suppose you got the marker back all right.
Not yet. However, I intend to.
Mm-hmm. But on your first try, you got too rough too fast. And killed Terry before she'd talk. Is that it?
You know, if I were you, I'd bite my tongue off before I'd say a thing like that. Even joking.
Who's joking? Girl's been murdered your way.
Smart people die every day. Lots of ways.
Yes. Well, thanks for the information. Good night.
Sit down.
Wait a minute, Naylor. The interview's over.
Not quite. What's Randall steamed up about?
Blackmail, which puts you both in the same boat. If I get the marker to protect him, I have to protect you at the same time for no extra charge. Let's be sensible.
Sensible? Okay. Quincy?
Yeah, Mr. Naylor?
I'm going out. Sit on Marlowe here. Real hard if necessary. Till I get back.
Sure. It'll be a pleasure, won't it, Mr. Marlowe?
Oily straightened his tie and sat down opposite me, humming to himself. Then he unfolded a racing form, tilted his chair back, and apparently forgot about me. He was a perfect setup for a very old gag. Because the 2 back legs of his chair were perched on the far edge of a green hooked rug that I could reach easily. His eyes okayed my request to light a smoke, and then drop my matches. When I bent down to get them, I grabbed the rug instead and
yanked hard. Couldn't resist, could you, sucker? I'm faster than I look.
Come on, I should have known.
Well, 100%. Now I got an excuse to work you.
Wait a minute, Naylor will want to talk to me when he gets back, Stooge.
You'll be able to talk, only maybe you won't think so good. Get back there in the corner. Go on, move. That's it. Now turn around and face the wall.
He kept the .45 pointed at my middle even while he shifted it to his left hand. And he dipped his right into the side pocket and brought it out, clenched around an ugly set of brass nuts. There was a tight knot in the pit of my stomach as he started talking. I just made up my mind to try for his gun regardless when I heard it. When I turned and looked, Oily was sprawled face down on the floor and sprinkled with chunks of shattered crockery, and standing over him like a victorious gladiator was Maxine Rossi.
Marlowe, Came as soon as I found out you were in here. He is so vicious, this Quincy.
Not at the moment, baby, thanks to you. But I don't get it.
There's no
How did
time
you...
for talk now. Come to the roulette table as soon as you can. Hurry, darling.
I watched her slip through a side door. Then, rolled Quincy over, got my gun back in its holster, and all of 7 seconds later went out through the same side door. It opened into a lush room, 50 by 50, checkerboarded with people bunched around evenly spaced gaming tables. I moved toward the click of a roulette wheel and found Maxine there throwing blue chips around. With a subtle recklessness that meant she had a fortune to squander or that she was a shill for Naylor. How's your luck, baby? Still holding?
Uh-huh. It is so far. But it may change any instant now.
Yeah, well, I guess it's my turn then. Come on, I'll pick up some chips. 10 black.
Marlowe, we got to get you out of here.
You work for Naylor, don't you, Maxie?
Yes, but not like I work for you, Marlowe.
Oh? He sent you up to Terry Dodge's place tonight. Find out what she wanted with that marker. And it was Naylor you called when you found Terry's body, huh?
Yeah. He just left Marlowe not a minute ago. 50-00.
Where was he heading?
I don't know. But one of those scraps of paper that wasn't burned in the fireplace. There was a telephone number of a travel agency on it. He had that with him.
The travel agency?
Yeah.
That might be the one shot I need. Listen, Maxie, Uh-oh. The boys have got me pegged. They're moving in.
I was afraid of this. Wait till the lights go out, darling, and then run for it.
The lights? Baby, I love you. What about you, Maxie?
Don't worry, my father was a longshoreman in San Francisco. I'll know how to get away.
She walked slowly as far as the back corridor, then started to run, and as the two gorillas angled toward the room toward me, I pretended to study the odds on the crap table while I edged for the door. They were almost up to me when the room went suddenly black. Atta girl, Maxie. I ducked low and belted to the front entrance, all stops open. And a few seconds later, I was outside. I put 50 yards between me and the front porch before I so much as slowed down. When I did, I saw something else. Paul Naylor himself across the street just getting into his car. I pulled my gun out and ran for him. Hey, Naylor!
Marlowe, how did you get... Say, what's going on?
I want that phone number you got in your pocket.
Phone number? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's too bad because I don't have time to explain. It was 5 minutes and all of 5 miles later when I stopped at a gas station and climbed into a phone booth to call the travel agency number on a half-burned piece of paper that I'd taken from Paul Naylor. I was sure now that at least I'd get an answer to fit the 2 airline tickets to Mexico City. But the girl who answered the phone exploded that dream with her opening line.
Good evening, Canadian and Northern Railway Agency.
Canada. It didn't make sense. On a hunch, I shot a girl the description of Terry Dodge and hit pay dirt on the first try. A woman who matched it had made a reservation that afternoon to leave for Canada at midnight alone. But then the girl asked me a question. And the answer to that made my next stop my client as fast as I could get there. The drive into Laurel Canyon and up the twisting trail they call the road put some new gray in my hair. But before I got to Randall's house, I pulled over, parked, and climbed the rest of the way quietly on foot. A long brown convertible that wasn't Randall's squatted under the bushes beside the house. I crossed the patio and went in through an open window.
That's what I said, Randall.
I could hear voices, so I inched along the back hall to an open study door and listened.
And don't try anything cute, buddy, or I'll break you in two, and I mean it. Well, what do you say? Give me the money and I'll give you that marker.
Well, How do I know you've got the marker? Where did you get it?
I killed that double-crossing girlfriend of ours, sweet Miss Terry Dodge, to get it. That's where.
What? You mean Terry's dead?
Yeah. We were pulling this deal together and then going to Mexico. But she got greedy, was going to get the money and take off for Canada alone. So now I'm doing it alone. Get the dough, Randall. Time's short.
Wait, I want to see the marker first.
Well, sure. Hand me that picture there. That's right, pretty boy. The one Terry sent back to you today. Well, come on.
All right. Here.
Thanks.
Hey, what are you... What? The marker. It was behind my picture all the time.
Yeah, Terry was real smart. And so was that blabbermouth Marlowe. He tipped me off of the whole thing when he told me Terry sent this back to you today. The marker wasn't anyplace else, so it had to be here. And here it is, Randall. All yours. For 20 grand.
No, I won't pay it. I'd have paid Terry blackmail for that note, but I won't shield the killer.
All right, Randall, have it your way. But I'm walking out that front door, and that means I got to leave you dead on the floor.
Randall, that...
Not this time, Marlowe.
Oh, Marlowe, that was awful close.
Never mind that. Come on, let's get him.
Oh, you missed him.
Yeah, stay here. I'll get him. Oh, my car. I left it halfway down the hill. He'll be 10 miles away the way he's driving before I can get to it.
Well, he's got to be good to drive those roads that fast.
Yeah.
Bill. He was going too fast to get around your car. He went over.
Yeah. And if anybody ever had it coming, it was Rip Stranigan. All American. By the time we got down to the crash, the canyon was swarming with people. An ambulance and 2 prowl cars whined in, and 30 minutes later, the mess was all cleaned up. The police verdict was speed on a dangerous road, and the doctor's forecast was DOA. So Randall and I went back to his place and spent another 30 minutes over some much-needed brandy while I told him everything that had happened.
Great Scott. And it seemed like such a simple thing, Phil. Pay a gambling debt and get the marker.
Yeah.
Hard to realize all this happened just because of that.
Well, that plus the fact that you let a pair of nasty characters get you in a spot.
Yeah. It's also hard to believe that they're both dead now and it's all over. And you did a wonderful job, Phil.
I had some wonderful help from Miss Maxine Rossi. There's a kid with lots on the ball, believe me.
Hey, do you think she got away from Naylor all right?
With her talent, you can count on it. But just to play safe, I'm going to let Mr. Naylor know it's hands off, or I'll see his joint ripped wide open.
I'd sure like to help, but I've just sown my last untamed oat.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you're in good shape now. Boys at headquarters are reasonable. I'll run along and tell them what they need to know.
Okay. Oh, Phil, just one thing first. When you called the agency, the Canadian Railway, you said the girl there asked you a question, and that's why you came up here so fast. What did she say?
Oh, she wanted to know if I was the tall gentleman from Texas with the nice teeth who had inquired earlier about the ladies' reservations. And he got all upset, which, of course, could only mean Rip Stranigan. And that explained the tickets from Mexico, the murder, the ransacked house, and all the rest of it.
Oh, I see.
You know, the more I think about it, Gar, the luckier you get. Good night. Happy board meeting. It was 2:00 in the morning. And the thought of my kitchen littered with dead chicken, raw rice, and the jumble of spices practically turned my stomach until I opened my apartment door. And then, one step at a time, I got it. The delicious odor of chicken, gacciatore, cooked to perfection. The sight of a gleaming table, set in candlelight. The sound of a cork being pulled from a bottle of wine. And all done in a fine Italian hand. The hand of a longshoreman's daughter from San Francisco. And then, a startling idea hit me. You know, if Maxine Rossi could only... But she can. You know this is dangerous? Oh, brother.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, star Gerald Moore, and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Bill Johnstone, Betty Lou Gerson, Barney Phillips, John Daner, and Jack Crucian. The special music is by Richard O'Runt. Be sure to be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
When it started, the tide was high on the San Pedro waterfront, and a hot-tempered kid had murder on his mind. But there was a knife at my throat, a beating under the piers, and a corpse on the beach before the tide went out again. And the kid was finally stopped.
Just about an hour from now, most of these same CBS network stations will bring you the hour-long Sing It Again program, a CBS Saturday night favorite, and the show with radio's biggest jackpot. Of course, tonight the jackpot's down to only $50,000 because last week somebody guessed the identity of the Phantom Voice. Still, $50,000 isn't hay. $25,000 is in valuable prizes for correctly guessing the new Phantom's identity. Then there's an additional $25,000, this time in cold cash, if the Phantom guesser can answer just one more question about the Phantom. There'll be other prizes, too, for cracking one of the many delightful riddle songs. So be sure to stick around for Sing It Again. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, listen to Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And now, in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States, CBS Radio presents Gangbusters! Gangbusters, the only national program that brings you authentic police case histories, has asked the Honorable Edward L. Dowd, First Assistant Circuit Attorney of St. Louis, Missouri, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Circuit Attorney Dowd.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Let's begin tonight's case on a cold winter morning a year or so ago in the city of St. Louis, Missouri. The proprietress of a small, unkempt confectionery store on South Broadway had just opened the place for the day's business and was tidying up the tiny soda fountain.
Morning, Annabelle.
Told you no last night, Wally. The answer's still no.
Crying out loud. You think it was a fortune? You could stake a guy to a couple of $100.
Why?
Now, Annabelle, be reasonable. I'm good for it. You know I'm good for it.
Why does a guy in your position need to come looking for handouts? You know where to get it. Why don't you go out and make it?
The heat's on, Annabelle. The town is hotter than a $2 pistol shooting blanks.
Don't blame me. I didn't make the heat.
These guys have really been burning up the town. Remember that clothing store man?
Yeah.
Them. That was them. Of course, I'm not saying it was their fault the guy got shot. Somebody comes in and heists the place. A reasonable thing to do is give him the money. He fought them, so what does he get?
A nice funeral.
And the hotel clerk, I hear that was them, too. So you can see why all the heat is on, Annabelle. So I figured to get out for a while. I'd take a ride to KC and take things easy for a couple of weeks.
I should give you the $200. Have to come looking for you in Kansas City.
You won't have to come looking for me, Annabelle. I'm good for it. You know I'm good for it.
Then go borrow from a bank.
Listen to me, Annabelle, heart to heart. A guy with a little heat on him can't even walk in the streets in comfort anymore. The first thing he knows, he's downtown with the law nagging the life out of him. You can't work under these conditions.
My heart is bleeding for you.
This mob has been burning up the town with one blast after another, and the pressure is coming down on the cops from all over. It's a risk to stick your head on the street while this mob is still operating.
What mob? Who are they?
How should I know who are they?
I thought you knew everything, Wally.
I never heard of them. What do you say, Annabelle?
No is no. One's a redhead, the papers say. You know of any redheaded heavy men around town?
No. Annabelle?
I got an idea, Wally. Have a chocolate malted on the house.
No, thanks. Much obliged.
My chocolate malteds aren't good enough for you, but you'll take my $200.
I ain't even had breakfast yet.
What's wrong with a chocolate malted for breakfast?
Annabelle, please.
No.
We've been friends for years.
I know. I want to keep it that way. If I give you the $200, that's the end of our friendship. Come in.
Yeah, I'm in already.
What'll it be, mister?
Cup of coffee. Hello, Wally.
Red, how are you?
We don't have coffee. How about a nice cherry phosphate?
Nah, never mind.
A malted?
Now, skip it.
What are you doing around here, Red?
Yeah, seeing the sights.
Yeah?
How about a hot chocolate? That I can make you.
Nah, forget it. How you been, Wally? Busy?
No, not too.
I was told I could find you around here, Wally.
He's around here too much.
Gotta do something with my time.
Are you looking to make a connection?
That depends.
You like milk? I give you plain milk.
I want coffee.
You want coffee? You have to go elsewhere.
Red, it's a good deal.
Yeah, it's been good so far. Come on, let's go get that coffee someplace. We'll talk about it,
This ain't a restaurant I'm running. If I carried what everybody asked for, I'd have $1 million worth of stock.
It's all right. I'm not to put out, man.
Well, go if you're going. I've got plenty to clean up around.
Come on, Wally. I'll see you, Annabelle.
Yeah, don't do me any favors. No.
Police department.
Sergeant Rickard, robbery squad.
Now, hold on, please. I'll connect you. Robbery squad, Sergeant Rickard.
There's Annabelle.
Yes, Annabelle.
We were looking to get a line on a redhead.
Yeah, so?
Maybe I just saw the one.
What's his name?
Red. His name is Red.
That's not much help.
This friend of mine was in the store crying about the heat around town because of all these heistings. Then this Red walks in. He and Wally are sidekicks from way back, I think. He wants to know if Wally would like to make a connection.
Well, what did Wally say?
He didn't say. They left together to talk it over.
For where?
How should I know for where? Did I follow him?
Okay, Annabelle, thanks. Keep your ears open now. In the meanwhile, we do some checking around.
Let me have a cigarette with you, Wally.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, tell me. What's the deal?
Wait a minute. Take it easy. I'll tell you. First, I want to know, is there any heat on you?
Heat on me?
Yeah.
You guys got all the heat in this town. You're running wild and the lid is on everybody.
Are you still a good man at the wheel you used to be, Wally?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Downtown, for instance. Can you wheel a car in there and get it out?
Yeah. What's a touch?
Jewelry house.
Just jewelry?
There'll be some cash involved, enough. But plenty of ice.
I don't like a jewelry deal. You break your back to get the scum and you can't turn it over for 20 cents on a dollar.
Well, it shouldn't make any difference if there's enough of it.
No, I guess it shouldn't.
And it's only a three-handed job.
Oh?
Yeah, that's all. A fair-sized score split up only three ways wouldn't be bad, huh?
What happened to the other two in the mob?
What other two?
Papers have been saying you were four-handed altogether.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Wally, we were four-handed, but two of the boys pulled out.
Yeah? Why?
They thought there was too much heat for the fireworks. They started to cry, so Mac gave them the kiss-off.
Who's Mac?
You wouldn't know him. They've been his jobs.
What kind of guy is he?
After this one, I'll have had enough myself.
Cowboy?
No, not exactly. He ain't wild. He's got a head on his shoulders. Maybe that's his trouble, too much head. He thinks he's a mastermind.
I don't like that kind of deal. Every hand should have a say-so.
Not with Mac, they don't.
What does this guy think he is? I don't know him. I don't know what he can do.
Don't get so independent. You told me you were behind the six. You can't get dough by being independent.
All right. I'll talk to him anyway.
I'm talking to you for him. Are you in, aren't you?
Okay, Red, I'm in.
Good.
Come on, let's go see this car.
Take it easy, will you? Give me a chance to drink my coffee. Besides, we can't meet him till tonight.
So, Matty, you have to make an appointment?
He's a late sleeper.
All right. Go ahead, drink your coffee.
Wait out here, Johnny.
Yeah, sure, Rick.
I won't be but a few minutes.
I'll see you.
Hello, Annabelle.
Hello yourself, Sergeant. Now, what'll it be?
Small lemon lime.
Small lemon lime to a sergeant.
Where does this Wally live, Annabelle?
I don't know. He never said.
We've been checking around. We got no address for him in the cards.
Don't cry to me, Sergeant. That's your job to keep track of these heats, not mine.
You got no idea at all?
No idea at all.
And when you see him again, try to fish it out of him, huh?
Fish it out of him yourself. Here he comes. One lemon lime.
Hi there, Annabelle.
The answer's still no, Wally.
Forget I even mentioned it, Annabelle. Hi there.
How are you?
What'd you do? Get it from that red-headed friend of yours?
Head away, yeah. Got some telephone change, Annabelle?
Yep, sure. He looks familiar, that redhead. I think maybe I know him from someplace. There you are.
Maybe you do. He's been around. Excuse me, I gotta make a call.
Who's stopping you? See what I mean about the redhead?
Yeah, I see.
You gonna pick Wally up? A few days in jail might do him some good. Maybe it'd help his color.
Maybe it would. How much for the lemon lime, Annabelle?
Still a nickel. No inflation around here.
There you are.
Thank you. Call again.
Let me know what you hear, Annabelle.
I'm all ears.
Okay, I'll see you now.
Hurry back, mister.
Johnny?
Hey, Rick. Wasn't that Wally that went in the store?
Yeah.
Did he make you?
No, I don't think so. He remembers me from someplace. Probably thinks I'm a steady hanger around Annabelle's. He went to use the phone.
What are we going to do when he comes out? Collar him?
No, there's nothing we could hold him on yet. We don't even know if this redhead is one of the outfit.
I wouldn't make any bets he wasn't.
I want to see that redhead before we make a move. If he's right, I want to grab him good. What do we do?
He's coming out.
Okay.
Here he comes, this way.
Let him pass. Okay, Johnny, stay with him.
Right.
If he makes a meet with a redhead or if you find out where Wally lives, check with me.
Okay.
All right, on your horse.
So long.
Back to Gangbusters in a moment. The Sunday daytime listening is truly outstanding at the Star's address. Tomorrow, don't miss World Music Festivals, visiting the Edinburgh Festival, where Bruno Voltaire conducts the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. And remember, too, that Sunday daytime on most of these same CBS radio stations, Leopold Stokowski conducts in the 20th Century Concert Hall, and Michel Piastro directs the Symphonette, all on CBS Radio. And now back to Gangbusters and Circuit Attorney Dowd.
Well, while St. Louis detectives were beginning to make headway in their investigation, the hold-up mob had recruited another member. And late that night in another part of the city, Wally was being escorted up the stairs of an apartment house by his connection, Red.
Like I said, Wally, you might not like the guy, but you got to grant him a brain.
Just don't want anybody telling me my business, that's all. I don't go for that kind of garbage.
Okay, don't get excited. You haven't even met him yet. Yeah, that way.
Just don't want him telling me how to do my job.
Take it easy, will you? Okay, right here.
Should I push the bell?
Nah, never mind. I got the keys. Mac. Come on in, Wally.
Yeah.
Hey, Mac. In here, Red. He's in there, Wally. Say, how you like the setup here, Wally, huh?
That'll do.
Yeah. Mac, meet Wally.
How are you? Hi.
Just a second. He's nuts about solitaire.
So I see.
I tried a lot of things. I can't find a better way to pass the time.
Have you tried knitting?
Wally.
Yeah, I tried knitting. Nothing there. Well, we'll let this go for a while, huh?
That's nice of you.
It don't look like I could win it anyway, not with that deal. Sit down, Wally.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right here. Yeah. Fred says you're okay, Wally. Says you're a good wheelman.
The best, Mac.
Okay. Now, this is going to be a nice little score. Not the biggest in the world, but tidy.
That's the way I like 'em, tidy. When?
Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. Depends on the weather.
What's the weather got to do with it?
This is a congested district. If it's raining or snowing, traffic will be heavy and slow, plus there'll be a lot of extra taxicabs in the area.
It's a good angle.
The gate will be rough enough without any handicaps, so let's wait for good weather.
It's okay with me.
You see, Wally, all the angles.
Now, the Mark is the Four Brothers Jewelry Company. That's on the third floor of the tower building.
It's a rough deal getting out of that neighborhood.
Can you do it?
I can do it.
It's my idea we should have a small, fast car. A big one might be a little trouble to handle in traffic. But I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, you leave it to me.
A small car would be better, don't you think, Wally?
Small car it'll be.
Now, here's the layout. Forget about the elevator. We'll go up the stairs. The office is around here, in back, like this.
Yeah.
There's this entrance here. The door's made of glass, so we got to work fast. We got to get in, get it, and get out. We got no time to play.
Who wants to play?
There's a counter here, which stretches from one side practically to the other. It's a display case. None of the good stuff is in there. In back of the counter is a vault. That's what we want to get in.
How much do you figure?
Maybe 5,000, 6,000 in cash, maybe 50,000 in ice.
It's not bad.
All right for me.
Off to the side here, there's a little office. Now, that's where the owner has his desk. And besides the owner, we'll find another guy there, a salesman. Neither one of them look like the hero type. We won't have any trouble.
You got this mark pretty well cased.
I should have. I've been there twice. I've been trying to make up my mind whether to buy a watch they got.
It's a great setup, Wally.
They'll recognize me when I come in. I'll tell them I want the watch. They're relaxed. We go to work.
How about the bug? All those jewelry houses got alarms.
That won't be no problem. The only one I could spot was in the boss's little office. Now, he'll be in front writing up the sale on the watch, and if there are any more, we'll just have to be quick enough to keep them away from them.
I'm for being quick.
Back to Gangbusters in a moment.
Now, Red.
Yeah?
You're going to take the boss. Your job is to watch him, keep him quiet, keep him away from the bugs.
Okay.
And, Wally, you do the same thing with the salesman, and I'll clean the vault.
Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
You're going a little fast for me. You said I was to handle salesman.
That's right.
I was under the impression I was a wheelman in this deal. That's a big enough job. I don't belong on the inside at all.
It's not necessary to stay with the car. It can sit.
Yeah, well, it can sit without me. I don't do two men's work.
Wally.
Not without two men's cuts. I don't do two men's work without two men's cuts.
Will you listen to me?
I knew there was something screwy about this deal. No wonder your other two left you like that.
Wally, you got to grant me it takes three on the inside.
Okay, I'll grant you, but I'm a wheelman.
You've done inside work?
Sure, I've done inside work, but not while I was the wheelman. I won't have any part of it.
Now, listen to me, will you? You came in, and you're in.
Yeah, we'll see if I'm in.
Now, Wally, be reasonable.
Who's being unreasonable?
Now, look, I don't get tough often, but I'm going to get tough now. You're in, Wally. You made a deal, and you're in. Well, you're not going to be feeling so good.
Wally, cooperate, huh? It ain't going to be so tough.
Well, okay. If I wasn't on such a spot for dough, I'd tell you all what to do.
Good, Wally. I knew you'd come through first. You see, Mac?
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
This is going to be tomorrow. I better start scouting around for a car for the get.
Yeah, a small car, Wally.
A small car.
Red will get in touch with you. He'll let you know whether it's tomorrow and what time.
Yeah, you be at Annabelle's at 11. I'll phone there.
Okay, Annabelle's at 11. I'll be there.
Now, we got a good deal, boys. An awful good deal. Now, let's see if I can win one of these games for myself.
Robbery squad, Sergeant Rickard.
Hello, Rick. Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny.
Wally must have lifted himself a Chevy coach. I saw him on the corner of Grand and Locust.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, looks for sure like he's in a deal now.
Yeah, where'd he park this car?
In a public garage on Market Street. On Market Street near the civil courts.
Okay, Johnny, stick around there. I'll be right out.
You think I ought to have one of the boys stay behind, Wally?
No, that won't be necessary. He's going to use that car if they pull anything. That's all we have to watch, the car. I'll be right there.
What? Yeah, that...
Hi, Annabelle.
Oh, Wally.
Hot tricks, Annabelle.
Got no tricks. What do you want? 200 again? The answer's still no.
Nah, I don't want you 200. Just fix me a chocolate marlin.
Chocolate marlin with vanilla or chocolate marlin with chocolate?
With vanilla.
Chocolate marlin with vanilla. How come yesterday you wanted 200, today you don't? Beginning to get insulted.
My connections came through, Annabelle.
You would take my advice, which you won't. You wouldn't go looking for trouble.
I'm not looking for trouble. Who needs trouble?
Oh, every time I got a...
I'll get it, Annabelle.
Why should you get it? Is it your store?
I'm expecting a call. I'll answer.
Go on, then. Answer before they hang up.
Yeah.
And don't give my phone number to any more Toms and Dicks. What do you think this is?
Hello?
Wally?
Yeah, this is Wally.
Red. Max says we do it today at 3 o'clock.
Okay, I'm ready.
You got the car okay?
Yeah, Chevy, just a ticket. I got it parked in the garage on Market Street. I can pick you two up about 2:30.
Now, Max says no. Max says for you to drive downtown yourself, park the car in Del Mar near the building. We'll see you there.
Okay.
It will take care of the hardware. Just bring the car and yourself.
I got you.
So long.
Much obliged, Annabelle.
Much obliged for what?
For use of the facilities.
Anytime. Ask me for anything except money. 1 chocolate malted with vanilla.
Happy days, Annabelle.
Happy days yourself.
Washington, Rick. Maybe we can pick him up there.
Well, I'm afraid it's no use, Johnny. We lost him.
Lousy traffic. Same thing last night. The cinch Red took him to meet the mob. We got fouled up in traffic.
That's okay. We know where to put our hands on him now. Wally, at least. He can lead us to the others.
They're liable to start shooting again. That's what I'm worried about.
From the way he was headed, I guess the job is someplace downtown.
Maybe he was just headed to pick up the others.
Maybe, but these guys are pretty slick, Johnny. I don't think they'd all ride together in a hot car. I think the rest will meet him. I'll pull in the phone. We'll get a few more squads on the job and cruise around downtown. Maybe we can spot that Chevy.
All right, step lively, boys. We go in, we get in, we get out. Waste no time. You set, Red?
I'm set.
Wally?
I'm set.
Okay, each of you handle your man. I'll clean the ball. Keep your eyes open. This is the place, boys.
Looks nice.
Yeah. Hello there.
Well, how are you today?
Fine. I think I'll take that watch I was looking at.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, it's a fine watch.
I brought my friends over to see it.
All right. Here we are. Solid gold case, 21 jewel Swiss movement. A beauty and a bargain.
How do you like it?
Yeah, it's swell.
I kind of like one myself. I can show you something similar? Some other time.
I tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to put a deposit on it and pick it up next Monday. I'm kind of short. How much of a deposit did you have in mind?
Oh, say $25? Well, I think that'd be all right. Let me check with the boss. Mr. Burgess.
Some watch, all right.
Yes?
Front, please, Mr. Burgess.
All right.
Watch is guaranteed, isn't it?
Absolutely guaranteed. If anything goes wrong with it, just bring it in. But you must remember, a fine watch is a delicate piece of machinery.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. May I help you?
Miss Burgess, this gentleman would like to leave a $25 deposit on the watch and pick it up on Monday.
How do you do?
Hello.
Hi, nice place you got here.
Thanks. Well, I think that'll be perfectly all right. All we have to do is...
Okay. Do as you're told and you won't get hurt.
Well, please, quiet still. All right?
Lock the door.
Yeah, I got you.
Going around, boys. Keep them covered.
Yeah.
Come on.
Now, just don't try to be heroes and you won't get hurt. All we want... Hey, you.
Me?
You, move away from there.
Yes, all right.
Hey, boss, come here and have a look.
What's the trouble? We gotta move.
There's a bug right under the counter. This guy was standing not 6 inches from it.
You? Oh, no. Not me.
Go on, you move over there.
All right. I'll move. You. Did you hit the alarm button?
Oh, I know. I didn't touch it. Are you sure? I'm positive.
Sure had his chance. Now tell me the truth. If any cops come storming in here, I'm going to kill you, I swear. Did you hit that bug?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you're smart. All right, boys, get them tied up. By the time you finish, I'll have the vault clean.
We covered a lot of blocks, Rick. Don't look good to me.
Well, we take one more turn around it. Wait a minute.
What?
There's a Chevy parked up there.
Where?
Next to the alley.
That's the baby.
Nobody with it, huh?
It must be inside someplace.
Hold it.
Central District, cars 4, 5, and 6. In the jewelry office, 3rd floor, tower building. The old alarm is ringing.
That's it. Let's go.
At the jewelry office, 3rd floor, tower building.
That's in the middle of the block. Let's get them.
How you doing, boys?
They'll be tied in a minute. I don't know what you fellas expect to
Shut up. Make it good and tight.
Yeah. Hey, look, there's cops coming in the hall. Why, you hit that bug, didn't you? Please, get up.
Here they come.
Get up.
Go on, get up.
All right.
Open up there.
Yell to him. You hit the alarm by mistake.
The police officers, open up.
Tell him we're customers. Tell him it was a mistake.
Take it in.
Hey, they're breaking in. Watch it.
The lock. Get the lock, Sergeant.
Get your hands up, coppers, or I'll kill this guy.
No, don't.
Off those guns, police officers.
Get him, Sergeant.
Let go of me.
Give me that gun.
Let me go.
All right, get your hands up.
Okay, don't shoot.
Get those hands up.
All right, don't shoot.
Get him up.
You, turn that man loose.
I'll kill him.
No.
Let him go.
All right, take it easy.
You all right, mister?
Yes. Yes, I think so. Jack is tied up over there.
Go look after him.
Yes, I'd better. It's all right, Jack. It's all right.
Are any of you bums hurt?
They all look okay to me, Rick.
Now sit down there, all of you.
He said sit down.
What a mess.
Don't cry. It won't do you any good, Wally.
Sure, plenty of truth in that. Well, now we're going to take a little inventory. Let's see what we got here.
They're not such a tough-looking bunch, are they, Rick?
No, not now, they're not. Take their guns away, and they're just a bunch of crumbs. Just plain crumbs.
That, Gangbusters listeners, was how this gang of hold-up artists and killers was captured in the act of committing a robbery after a terrific struggle and gun battle. All were tried in the circuit court at St. Louis, Missouri, and convicted. They are now in the Missouri State Penitentiary at Jefferson City in execution of their sentences.
Thank you, Circuit Attorney Edward L. Dowd of St. Louis, Missouri. Now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clues, broadcast every week as a public service to assist American police in their war against the underworld. Attention all citizens. Be on the lookout for Clarence Dye, wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution for armed robbery. Listen carefully to his official description.
Clarence Dye, alias Jock. Age 43. 5 feet 10 inches. 140 pounds. Medium build. Brown hair. Blue eyes. Fair complexion. May seek work as a welder or cook.
This man has scars over his left eyebrow, a blue scar over his right eyebrow, and a tattoo of initials CD on his right forearm.
Caution, Dye is probably armed and should be considered extremely dangerous. He reportedly has stated that he will not be taken into custody alive and will attempt to kill any officer arresting him. Attention all citizens, maintain vigilance for Edwin Sanford Garrison, wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid confinement for the crimes of burglary and robbery. If you have any information concerning these fugitives, notify your local police, the nearest office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. Tonight's Gangbusters case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by Leonard L. Bass, with Mason Adams, Amzie Strickland, and Eric Dressler in leading roles. The entire production was supervised for CBS Radio by John Ives. Gaylord Avery speaking. Tomorrow night, Eve Arden raps for attention, and the merriment's on again at dear old Madison High. Yes, she's back. Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks. Funnier than ever before, with the help of Bashful Boynton, her biology teaching heartthrob, Mrs. Davis, Eve's pixelated landlady, Osgood Conklin, the terrible-tempered principal, and the rest of the riotous gang. Remember, class convenes with our Miss Brooks tomorrow night on most of these same CBS radio stations. Be sure to beat the school bell to your seats. You hear America's favorite shows on the CBS Radio Network.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail the United States Military Academy at West Point. Our story is entitled Hundredth Night.
the story of an important milestone in cadet life at West Point. Our first act curtain will rise in just a moment, but first, we all share freedom, help share its defense. The motto is new, but the call it sounds is as old as the history of our country. Today, as we stand strong and alert against communism, the United States Army is calling for qualified young men and women to join the Freedom Team and become Army technical specialists. You will be trained in the latest techniques using the finest equipment, and you'll be building a rewarding career for yourself. For full information, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station. The time is now. And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, Hundredth Night. 100 nights till June. To every cadet at West Point, there's a certain magic in that phrase. To the lowest plebe, it means 100 nights until recognition, until he becomes an upperclassman. To the yearling, who a year ago was himself a plebe, it means 100 nights until summer leave, the only really long vacation he gets in his 4 years at the point. To the first classman, it means most of all. For him, it is 100 nights until June week. Graduation, the successful completion of a hard job and the beginning of a promising career. But to the second classman, West Point's junior class, 100th night weekend is probably the least important. June only means the beginning of the last year at the academy. There's a tough summer of training in front of them and a long academic year to follow. To the second classman, 100th night is just another milestone. Nothing much to celebrate. To every second classman, that is, but one.
I'm Robert Marlowe, a cadet corporal and a second classman, Company A2, United States Corps of Cadets. I want to tell you why 100th night weekend turned out to be the most important in my life. See, I come from a small town about 60 miles from Los Angeles. For nearly 3 years now, I've been here at the point, 3,000 miles from home. When I wrote that letter to Diane asking her to come east for 100th night, I never expected her to say yes. She'd never come east to visit me before, even though we've considered ourselves engaged since we were in high school. And then the letter came.
Darling Bob, of course I'll come. Surprise? I can't say that I blame you. Before your letter came, Daddy and I were talking about you. Your ears just burning. Anyhow, I won't spoil it by saying another word until I see you. Bob, doesn't that sound wonderful? Until I see you. I've already got my plane reservation, and I'll meet you Saturday afternoon. Until then, darling, all my love, Diane. P.S. You call it 100th night weekend. What a funny name. Does it mean something?
From the morning her letter arrived, I doubt if I touched ground once. I never knew a week to pass so slowly. But finally it was ready. Mess was over, and I was on my way to Grant Hall, where I knew Diane would be waiting.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am?
I'm looking for Bob Marlowe. That is, Cadet Robert Marlowe.
Do you know what company?
Does A2 make any sense?
Yes, ma'am. We're calling for him.
Oh, would you? I was supposed to meet him. I don't see... Bob! Never mind, he's here.
Yes, ma'am.
Diane! Oh, hey, let me look at you a minute. Oh, boy, $1 million.
Oh, boy. Bob, you look beautiful.
Hey, now, wait a minute. That's my line.
Oh, but this is the first time I've ever seen you in uniform.
Oh, I nearly forgot. Diane, I want you to meet Joe Cudner. He's my roommate.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Joe.
Well, now I can understand.
Understand what?
Why, Bob keeps murmuring Diane in his sleep every night.
Do you, Bob?
Well, if Joe says so.
Well, I've been the third party in this party long enough, so I'll see you back in the room, Bob.
Oh, you have to run off, Joe.
Well, I got a drag waiting for me around here someplace myself.
Drag? Oh, you mean your date?
Yeah, I'll see you later, Diane. At the hop.
I hope so, Joe.
I know so. Your hop card's on Bob's desk, and I've filled in my name for 5 dances. I'll see you later.
He's very nice.
Oh, yeah, the best.
Darling, Would they fine you or arrest you or something if I kissed you?
Well, let's find out.
Is that the best you can do?
Well, in the middle of Grand Hall it is. Just you wait. Now, what about our tour? What do you want to see first? Cullum Hall? Battle Monument? Flirtation Wall?
Just you, Bob. I want to talk to you. Can we talk here?
Why not? Here's some comfortable chairs. Come on.
That's fine.
You know, you are beautiful.
Don't look at me that way, Bob. I can't think straight.
Well, who wants to think straight?
I do. I want to tell you this in just the right way.
Oh, hey, now, that sounds like the start of a Dear John letter.
All right, if your ego needs bolstering. I haven't looked at another boy since high school, and I love you to pieces. How's that?
That's more like it. You know what I ought to do right now?
Now, Bob, behave. I want to speak my piece.
Okay, I'll listen. Now, what's so important and exciting?
It's about us, Bob.
Well, I didn't think it'd be about a couple of strangers.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. That it might get to be about a couple of strangers. You don't get a summer leave this time, do you?
Oh, not until a year from June when I get my commission.
Then I won't see you again for over a year.
Well, I'll get home Christmas for a few days.
That's dandy. Merry Christmas.
Oh, now, come on, Diane. We had an understanding about this when I first got my appointment. We knew it wasn't going to be easy for either of us, but you agreed to wait.
I was 17 then, Bob. When you're 17, you think you've got all the time in the world.
Well, it was only 3 years ago.
Only? Do you know how many times we've seen each other since then? You came home for a few days at Christmas in 1951.
There was summer leave last year.
And another few days last Christmas, only you had the flu and couldn't come home. That's all, Bob. You might as well have been on another planet.
I'll admit it's been tough, but it's almost over now.
Is it? This is the big weekend up here, 100th Night. I asked you in my letter if it meant something.
Well, it means there are just 100 nights until June.
Not for us. It's 100 nights plus a whole year until June for us.
Oh, it'll go quickly, Diane. First class year always does.
For you, maybe. Not for me. I can't wait another year, Bob.
Oh?
I'm sorry, Bob. I didn't mean it to come out this way. I'm telling it all wrong.
Well, how do you tell it right?
Now, stop looking so hurt. It really is news, darling. We don't have to wait another year at all.
What do you mean?
We don't have to wait, Bob. We can get married right away.
What?
It's what you want, isn't it?
Well, honey, it's what I want more than anything in the world. You know that. But there are 3 things a cadet can't have. A dog, a mustache, and a wife. We just have to wait.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, darling. Bob, I want you to resign.
Resign?
No, wait, don't say anything yet. This isn't some silly notion of mine. It is something I've been thinking about for a long time. I knew you'd never do it unless there was some very good reason. But now there is.
What reason could there be?
Remember what I wrote in the letter about the long talk I had with Dad? His plant's going back into full production. Government work. They're going to build literally thousands of new jet planes.
What's that got to do with me?
Everything. He expects to be busy, and now he needs an assistant. A young, intelligent, capable man.
Now, wait a minute, Diane. I can't throw away all the work I've done just like that.
But you can throw me away just like that.
No, I'm not throwing you away. I couldn't.
You are, Bob. This is a chance that comes just once. That's all. You miss it and it's gone.
Oh, I'll have a job when I get out.
Will you have a girl, too?
Now, you don't mean that. Diane, do we have to thrash this out right now? We don't want to spoil our fun tonight.
Bob, listen to me. I didn't fly 3,000 miles for the 100th night hop. This is more important than any dance. You've got to make a decision and... Well, I suppose it comes down to just how much you want me.
So that was the beginning of the weekend I'd looking forward to for so long. I still remember exactly what I said to Diane after that. All I knew was that I felt as though some sort of weight was constricting my chest. I do remember going back to barracks to change into full dress. Diane and I were going to dinner at the Thayer. I'd promised to give her my answer then. Joe was there crawling a plebe from down the hall.
Mr. Pearson, you're the grossest plebe in this section. You know that, don't you?
Yes, sir.
7 months at the academy, and you still don't know how to take a brace.
Yes, sir.
The chin, mister, the chin. Pull it in. Until you can spit on your heels. That's better. Who does a plebe rank, mister?
Sir, a plebe ranks the superintendent's dog, the commandant's cat, and all the waiters in the mess hall.
All right, then. So you're not the lowest form of animal life after all, and stand up like you were proud of yourself. That clear?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Hey, Bob, I was just telling my drag about me a smooth-looking girl.
Oh, thanks. What time is it, mister?
Sir, I am deeply embarrassed and greatly humiliated that due to unforeseen circumstances over which I have no control, the inner workings and hidden mechanisms of my chronometer in such in accord with the great sidereal movement by which time is reckoned that I cannot with any degree of accuracy state the exact time, sir. But without fear of being very far off, I will state that it is 25 minutes, 15 seconds, and 4 ticks after the 18 hours, sir.
Very good, mister. That's what I got, Bob. 6:25. What time you pick up Diane at the Thayer?
7.
If a man about to drag his one and only to the big event of the season, you don't look very happy.
Not at all.
All right, Mr. Pearson, dismissed.
Yes, sir.
None of my business, but what happened? Fight?
No. Joe, how many copies is it you submit for a letter of resignation?
6 copies to be submitted to the company tactical officer to be forwarded through channels to the commandant of cadets. Hey, did you say resignation?
Well, I thought it was 7 copies.
Maybe I didn't hear you right. You did say resignation, didn't you?
You know, Joe, it's a funny thing. Lots of times in the past 3 years, I've felt pretty low. Homesick, maybe, or just plain disgusted. And all the time, all I needed to chuck the whole mess was to write a letter with 6 copies.
What got into you?
Well, didn't you ever feel like resigning?
Who doesn't? Once in my plebe year, I actually wrote the letter. But even when I was writing it, I knew I wasn't going to send it in.
Joe, where do you expect to be in 20 years?
Me? I don't know.
Pulling down a snappy $12,000 a year?
It's eating money.
I can get that much right now, this year.
How? Inherit it?
Earning it? Doing a job that needs to be done?
We're supposed to be training for here to do a job that needs to be done.
Well, there's more than one way to do a job.
No kidding.
Now, where's all my paper?
Are you really going to write that letter?
Listen, have you got any paper I can borrow? Give it back.
Yeah. Here. And you don't have to pay it back.
You are listening to the proudly we hail production, Hundredth Night. We'll return in just a moment for the second act. Today, you young men of America have an excellent opportunity to learn a trade that will assure your future. The many fine technical schools of the United States Army are training men in such interesting fields as radio, radar, meteorology, mechanics, electronics, and many others. You can become a qualified technician trained to do an important job and do it right. For full details about an exciting career, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station. No obligation, so plan ahead. Face your tomorrow today. You are listening to Proudly We Hail, and now we present the second act of Hundredth Night.
I wrote my official letter of resignation, and with that numb feeling you sometimes have when you dream of walking. I gathered together all 6 very official copies and deposited them on the desk of Captain Gaynor, our company tactical officer. After that, I walked down to the Thayer for my dinner with Diane. I don't imagine I made very much sense at the table.
You're hardly touching your dinner, Bob. What's the matter?
Oh, nothing's the matter, honey. The dinner's fine.
Bob, there's a cadet wearing a red sash and some kind of white belt across his chest. Hey, he's coming across the dining room toward you. Do you know it?
Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's another guy. What does he want with me?
Marlowe, R.E. Sorry to break in on you. Captain Gaynor wants to see you at once in his office.
Captain Gaynor? Who's he?
My company tactical officer. I'm afraid I'll have to go right over.
Oh, that's all right, darling. I'll wait till you're here. I don't need it all.
Come in.
Marlowe, R.E., reporting as ordered, sir.
At ease, Mr. Marlowe. Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry to break in on your date. I'll try not to keep you long.
That's all right, sir.
You can guess why I sent for you.
About my letter, sir?
Your letter of resignation from the Corps of Cadets.
Is it in order, sir?
Yes. Very well presented. Mr. Marlowe, how long have you been thinking of resigning?
Well, sir, about 3 hours, sir.
I see. Mr. Marlowe, you present a very good argument here for the acceptance of the resignation. You state that you wish to resign to take an important post in an industry vital to our national defense.
Yes, sir.
I don't see any mention here of the girl.
Sir?
Come now, Marlowe. Until a few hours ago, you were one of the most proficient cadets in this company. Your girl arrives from California, and suddenly you submit a letter of resignation. You trying to tell me there's no connection between these facts?
Well? No, sir. There is a connection. I'm in love with her, sir.
You didn't marry her secretly, did you?
No, sir.
Marlowe, I haven't any right to talk to you like a Dutch uncle, but I'm going to anyway. I hate to see this happen. You were slated to be company commander next year, you know. Doesn't mean much, does it?
Not now, sir.
You stand high in your class.
I know all that, Captain. I know what I'm giving up. I've thought it over pretty carefully.
For 3 whole hours?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to meet this girl of yours, Marlowe. She must be a remarkable person.
I'd be happy to introduce you, sir. Anytime.
Shouldn't have said that, should I? Very well, Mr. Marlowe. I'll initial the papers and forward them through channels. That'll be all.
Yes, sir. I left the office and went back to the fair to pick up Diane. We started out together from the hotel for the long walk back to the gym for the hot. It was a cold night, and I thought I could feel Diane shiver inside her fur evening wrap, but she insisted on the walk. I was boiling inside with a kind of unreasonable anger, and I thought I'd never feel cold again. As we approached the gym, our footsteps slowed, almost as if by mutual consent. You sure you're not cold?
Uh-huh.
We're almost there anyhow. Oh, that's the gym up ahead.
Very impressive. Bob, are you sorry?
Well, why should I be sorry?
You'll never regret it?
Oh, do you think I'd regret having you? You know, if we stand out here in the cold too long, we'll freeze.
Bob, before we go inside, I want to be sure of one thing.
Oh, now your hair looks perfect.
No, I mean about you. I don't want you ever to think I made you do something that wasn't right.
Honey, are you still worrying about that? In a few days, I'll be out of this straitjacket. A free man, my own boss. No more bugles and bells to call me to formation. No getting up before 6. Is that something to be sorry about? Diane, when this is all behind me, I'll be killed to death. Now, that answer your question?
All right, darling, we can go in now. You've convinced me, even if you haven't convinced yourself.
May I cut in, Joe?
Uh-oh, look who's back again, Diane. You know, I think this guy really likes you.
Glutton for punishment.
All right, come on, guy, get lost.
Okay, I'm going. I'm on your side for number 5, Diane. I'll be back.
You bet, Joe. Well, everybody's back?
You know, I just happened to notice. We're right near the door. How about a nice breath of fresh air?
In the lobby?
All right. Nice breath of stale air, then. You see, I'm getting selfish in my old age. I like to have you to myself.
Good evening, sir.
Huh? Oh, good evening, mister.
Sir, excuse me.
Well, mister, what is it?
Sir, may I ask you a question?
Sure. Oh, Diane, this is Mr. Pearson. A plebe from my company.
Hello. You dragging your girl to the house?
No, ma'am. I'm on duty here. Plebes aren't allowed to go to house.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Another of those silly rules.
Well, what's the question, mister?
Sir, there's a rumor in our section that you're resigning from the Corps.
The rumor's true. I submitted a letter to Captain Gaynor.
Oh.
What's the matter, mister? Don't you approve?
Well, I don't have any right to approve or disapprove, sir.
But you don't approve, do you? You think Bob's making a mistake?
Well, it's all right, mister. Tell her what you think.
Yes, I'd like to hear.
All right, ma'am.
Oh, please, don't call me ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Look, mister, I won't be around here June week to recognize you. Suppose I do it now.
No, you don't have to do that, sir.
I want to, Mr. Pearson. Shake.
Yes.
And never mind the sir.
Yes. I mean, okay.
Pearson, every plebe has a chance to tell off an upperclassman on Hundredth Night. Well, this is your chance.
I don't want to keep the young lady standing in the lobby.
Oh,
here.
don't mind me. Besides, I'm fascinated. I want to hear what you're going to say.
I don't feel very much like saying it now. You won't like it.
If you're going to tell Bob he's making a mistake and should change his mind, I certainly won't like it.
That isn't what I was going to say.
Oh, come on. Out with it.
You're doing the right thing to resign.
Well, there, Bob, you see?
Why do you say that, Pearson?
I'll lay it right on the line. You don't need the Corps, and so the Corps doesn't need you.
And you are telling me off, aren't you?
You asked me to, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
The only reason anybody's here in the first place is to train for a service career, right?
Everyone is expected to serve his country one way or another.
Yes, sir, but not necessarily at West Point.
There, darling, you see? Just what I've been telling you all along. There are lots of ways to serve your country.
And frankly, sir, if you're the type who chuck everything the first time a better offer comes along, well, you're just not good officer material.
That isn't fair. Bob would have made a wonderful officer. Besides, he's going to do a lot more good where he's going.
There's an inscription carved in the wall here in the gym. Did you ever read it?
No.
He means the MacArthur quotation. You can see it right up there.
That's right, miss. You look at it. I don't have to. I memorized it. It says, upon the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that upon other fields on other days will bear the fruits of victory. If you don't believe that, I guess you just don't belong here.
The academy means a great deal to you, doesn't it?
I guess it's the most important thing that ever happened to me.
Pearson, you're going to make a darn good officer.
Afraid not, sir. I'm not going to get my commission.
What are you talking about?
I'm deficient in math and English. Barring a miracle, I expect to be found before the end of the month.
You mean flunk out?
That's right.
I'm sorry, Pearson. I didn't know that.
So, we'll be civilians together. Wish I were as happy about it as you are.
Pearson?
Oh, I've got to go. If I don't see you again, good luck to both of you. Right here, sir.
Well, you want to go back inside?
I don't feel very much like dancing now.
Neither do I.
What about our walk? Could we take it now?
I'll get you a wrap.
In memory of the officers and men of the regular Army of the United States who fell in battle during the Civil War, this monument is erected by their surviving comrades.
Battle Monument. You've probably seen it in the newsreel.
Oh. What are those lights over there?
North Barracks. You know, it reminds me of a little two-line poem I read once in a back issue of The Pointer. It goes, West Point, and joy and pain, and barracks lights across the plain.
Bob, he wasn't right, was he?
Who?
The plebe. He said you weren't good officer material.
I guess he was.
No, he wasn't. You aren't the type to throw away your ideals for the first good offer that comes along.
Not for an offer, Diane. For you.
And it was just for me. He didn't really want to do it at all.
But...
No, Bob, don't. I didn't have the right to ask you to resign, did I?
Every right. I want to marry you, Diane.
Do you know what you should have done, Bob? You should have told me to go jump in the Hudson. I had no business asking you to give up the career you'd chosen.
Well, it's done now.
Is it? Couldn't you withdraw the letter?
Well, Captain Gaynor wouldn't forward it before Monday morning. I might be able to catch him tonight before taps, but what about the job with your father?
Did you really want the job?
Well, no, but you said you couldn't wait another year.
Nobody can see into the future, Bob, but I think I can see this much at least. If you married me now, you'd stick to your bargain. That's the kind of guy you are. But I've got a funny hunch there'd be times when I'd have trouble meeting your eyes.
Diane, listen.
No, Bob, you listen. 100 days from now, it'll be June. 465 days from now, you'll be up here in your ice cream pants and your brass buttons and your gold chevron. You'll shake hands with the general and he'll hand you your commission. Do you know where I'll be?
Where?
Down there somewhere. So darn proud I'll be bawling my eyes out.
Young man, here's news about an important opportunity for you. Right now, the United States Army has an urgent need for qualified technicians to operate and service the complex equipment that science has brought into being. The need is vital, and you can be trained in such interesting career fields as radio, electronics, radar, photography, meteorology, mechanics, and many others. Here's your chance to acquire a skill that will be of value to your country and help you in civilian life. For full details, visit the recruiting sergeant at your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today. This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented, transcribed in cooperation with this station. Proudly We Hail is produced by the Recruiting Publicity Center for the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking, and inviting you to tune in the same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Kreml Hair Tonic and Kreml Shampoo present the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Nigel Bruce as Dr. Watson and Tom Conway as Sherlock Holmes. Now, once again, it's time to keep our weekly appointment with that incomparable host and storyteller, Dr. Watson. I'm sure he's expecting us.
Of course I am, Mr. Bell. So come in, draw up your usual chair, and make yourself comfortable. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. What story are you planning to tell us tonight?
Quite an exciting one, I think. The only relic I have of it is this rather mildewed piece of paper. I came across it just before you arrived as I was going over my notes on the case.
Well, this doesn't look very exciting. It's a hotel bill, and all it says is board and lodging for 1 week, 28 shillings and sixpence. Then there's an extra item, 1 pint of ale not paid for, 5 pence.
And yet that extra pint of ale was ordered at the very moment when Sherlock Holmes and I entered into one of the weirdest experiences we ever had. I call it the adventure of the Sally Market.
Before you begin the story, Dr. Watson, do you mind if I...
Have a word with our listeners? Oh, of course not, Mr. Bell.
Men, if you want a successful, prosperous appearance, don't give your hair that cheap, greasy, plastered-down look. Many products advertise that they don't leave the hair looking or feeling greasy. But let's make this test. Run your hand over your hair. Does your hair feel greasy or sticky? Now look at your hand. Is there a greasy film on it? If there is, then you certainly are not using Kreml Hair Tonic. Because Kreml positively never leaves the hair looking or feeling greasy, sticky, or dirty. Kreml contains a very special hair grooming ingredient found in no other hair tonic. It makes dry, unruly hair stay in place longer. Gives it such a nice, healthy-looking luster, too. When you use Kreml, you can run your hand over your hair and no grease comes off. Notice, too, how delightfully clean your hair feels. And just see if the ladies don't like that natural, well-groomed look which Kreml always gives. Try it, men. Kreml, Kreml Hair Tonic. Now, Dr. Watson, how about the adventure of the Sally Martin?
Well, the story began many years ago in the tiny fishing village of Kingsgate on the Kentish coast. At my insistence, Sherlock Holmes had agreed to take a much-needed holiday. And we were staying for a few days at a small seaside inn known as the Silver Dolphin. The adventure began, I remember, on a foggy, bitterly cold evening. Holmes and I, after a hearty dinner, were seated in the public bar of the inn talking to a garrulous old sailor. Little did we think that even in that peaceful village, dark tragedy was stalking us. Tragedy that very soon was to be brought to our attention.
Here you are, Albert. Another pint.
Thank you kindly, sir. Yes, you're very good health, gentlemen.
An amazing capacity. That's the fifth. I can't think where he puts it.
I see no mystery there, Watson. Go on with your story, Albert. You just reached the point where the shark had turned on you.
Well, gentlemen, I ups on the rail and dives into that raging sea. Pulls out me knife.
Oh, really? Where did you get the knife? I thought you said that you'd lost your clothes in the hurricane.
Stripped to me middle, I was. But I always kept a bowie knife stuck in me belt.
Oh, really? How uncomfortable.
Well, I see the white belly of the shark turning at me. I let him have it. A rip here, a slash there. Ooh, there was blood all over the place. Never saw such a mess. Storytelling's very dry work, gentlemen.
I'll order you another pint, Albert.
Thank you kindly, sir.
Watson, look who's just come in.
It's our old friend Sergeant Dobson, isn't it?
Yes, and judging by his expression, the local representative of the law has serious business on his mind. Good evening, Sergeant.
Good evening, Mr. Holmes. Evening, Dr. Watson.
How are you, Dobson?
Can I have a word with you, private-like?
Of course you can.
Oh, I beg pardon, sir, but you did say something about buying me another pint.
Don't worry, Albert. We'll have it sent over for you.
Please give Albert another pint, Annie. Put it on my bill.
Right you are, Mr. Holmes.
Perhaps you wouldn't mind stepping into the private bar, gentlemen.
Very well. Now, Sergeant, sit down and tell us what's on your mind.
Murder, Mr. Holmes.
Great Scott. Who? Where?
Well, have you gentlemen noticed the fancy sailing boat that's been moored out in the cove this past week?
Yes. I was informed that it was owned by George Byron, the Lancashire cotton manufacturer.
That's correct, sir. The boat's named the Sally Martin. And right at this moment, Mr. Byron's lying there in his cabin with a knife in his ribs, deader than a boiled mackerel.
Oh, gracious me.
I rowed ashore to send a telegram to the police at Canterbury, but I left a constable to guard the people aboard.
Good.
I'm going back now to conduct my investigation. But the Canterbury police can't be here afore morning, and I was hoping that we'd help you, Sergeant. Well, sir, a case like this is a little outside of my experience.
Just a minute, Dobson. Mr. Holmes is still a sick man. It's cold out and foggy. As his doctor, I forbid...
Rubbish. How can I stay here in the inn while a murder lies waiting to be solved less than a mile away? Come, Watson. The game's afoot.
How much further is it, Sergeant?
About a quarter of a mile,
well,
sir.
If we don't get there soon, I won't answer for the consequences. I'm a rotten sailor.
Cheer up, Watson. In the meanwhile, Sergeant, suppose you give me as many facts as possible. How many people are aboard the Sally Martin?
Well, there's 3 passengers, Mr. Holmes, and 2 in the crew.
Well, let's have those passengers first.
Well, there's Mrs. Byron, the dead man's wife. A lot younger than him, she is, and she looks a bit on the flighty side, if you ask me, even though she was having a proper fit of hysterics, like. And then there's Clarence Byron, the dead man's brother.
And what opinion did you form as to his character?
Well, sir, you understand I didn't talk to him much, but he acted cool as a cucumber, just as if murder didn't mean a thing to him.
And the third passenger?
Well, he's a young fella by the name of Hodgson, secretary to the dead man. Very nicely spoken gentleman he is, but it seemed to me as if Mrs. Byron had quite an eye for him, even through her tears. That's why I said she seemed flighty-like.
You're very observant, Sergeant.
Oh, it's just training, sir.
How about the 2 crew members?
Well, there's Captain Small. He seemed perfectly above board, and a man by the name of Coggins. Arthur Coggins. He's a deckhand, and a mighty surly one at that. He gave me quite a bit of back chat when I questioned him.
Holmes, how much further is it?
Barely 100 yards, old chap.
Oh, I feel awful. Do hurry up.
Move over, Sergeant. Let me take an oar.
There's the murdered man, Mr. Holmes. That's just how we found him.
Very illuminating.
Look at that murderous knife. It's buried to the hilt in his chest.
Yes, but more interesting than the knife at the moment is the tableau presented in this cabin. What story does it tell you, Watson?
Very simple story. Somebody opened the cabin door, came in, and stabbed him.
Oh, come now. Surely our years together have made you a little more perceptive than that.
I don't see what you're driving at.
Well, for one thing, in his right hand is an open book.
Oh, been reading?
Yes, and the sergeant has told us that the oil lantern beside his bunk was still burning when the body was found.
And that's right, Mr. Holmes.
There's no sign of a struggle. The bedclothes aren't even rumpled. No cry for help was heard. So let us reconstruct the scene. Mr. Byron was lying in his bunk, reading, as you observed, Watson.
Oh, quite easy.
The door opens. The murderer comes in, the knife hidden in his or her clothing. The victim has no suspicion of his fate because the murderer was someone who could enter his cabin at will. And suddenly, the fatal blow is struck.
Then it must have been one of the 3 passengers.
I think we may reasonably include the captain. The master of a schooner surely would have the ability to enter his employer's cabin without creating suspicion.
Oh, you're right, Mr. Holmes.
I think we've seen enough here, Sergeant. Where are the passengers?
In their cabin, sir. I told them to wait there until they were sent for. The main saloon's empty. You could see them in there nice and private like.
Splendid. Then let's go there. At once.
Mrs. Byron, my friend's only trying to help you.
Oh, how can he help me? He can't bring poor George back to life again, can he?
No, madam. But at least I can try to find his murderer for you.
He's right, Mum. So take it easy, like, and answer his questions.
Very well. What do you want to know, Mr. Holmes?
Can you suggest anyone who might have had the motive for murdering your husband?
Oh, 6 men. George made a lot of money. He was a hard businessman. He had many enemies.
But none of his business enemies had an opportunity of killing him tonight.
His biggest enemy, though I never could make him believe it, is on this very boat now. His brother Clarence.
Biggest enemy? His own brother? Oh, come, madam.
It's true. Clarence sponged on him. I've done for years. And ever since I married George, he's tried to be more friendly to me than a brother-in-law should be. Mm-hmm. Just because I was once in the theatre, he seems to think I didn't know how they later behaved.
You were in the theatre? I wonder if you knew a girl who was Daly's pretty little thing.
Watson, surely this is no time for your theatrical reminiscences.
Oh, sorry.
Mrs. Byron, are you familiar with the terms of your husband's will?
Everything he has comes to me.
Oh?
Well, that's perfectly natural, isn't it?
Perfectly. But in that case, your brother-in-law would hardly seem to profit from your husband's death.
I don't know what you're suggesting, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Do you think I stabbed him? I wouldn't have the strength.
Mrs. Byron, I suggested nothing. But I'm interested to notice that you answer your questions as well as ask them.
Well, I'm not staying here to answer any more questions, Mr. Holmes. I'm going back to my cabin. If you want me, that's where you'll find me.
No, wait a minute, ma'am.
Let her go, Sergeant. And please ask Mr. Hodgson, the secretary, to come in here.
Just as you say.
Upon my soul, she's a fine little thing, isn't she? Just attractive, too. What do you make of her, Holmes?
It's hard to say. If one wished to deduce motive, it would be easy.
Well, she must be 25 years younger than her husband. And a fortune coming to her at his death, eh?
Precisely. And despite her own statement, a woman would have the strength to stab an unsuspecting man to death.
Here's Mr. Hodgson, sir.
Thank you, Sergeant. Please sit down, Mr. Hodgson.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. This is a shocking business.
It is indeed, my boy.
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Any questions you like.
When did you last see your employer tonight?
Shortly after dinner, Mr. Holmes. He was taking a turn round the deck. We chatted for a few minutes, and then I went to my cabin and retired. It was about 9:30 or 9:45.
You heard no cry for help? No shout in the night?
No, none. The first I knew of the tragedy was when the captain awakened me.
Can you suggest who might have had a motive for his murder?
Mr. Holmes, that's a little hard to answer.
Come now, Mr. Hodgson. Don't hold anything back. You'll have to talk in a court of law, you know.
Yes, I suppose so. Well, gentlemen, in my capacity as secretary, I did know that my employer's brother, Clarence, has been borrowing heavily. Only yesterday morning I was compelled to draw my employer's attention to an irregularity in the monthly bank statement. A 500-pound check had been drawn. The signature was a forgery.
And you think that Clarence Byron committed that forgery?
Yes, I do, sir. And so did my employer. The two brothers had a terrible row about it.
Sergeant, will you be good enough to ask Mr. Clarence Byron to come here, please?
Right you are, Mr. Holmes.
One very personal question, Mr. Hodson. Was the relationship between you and your employer's wife a purely social one?
As a matter of fact, Mrs. Byron has been very kind to me.
Oh, really?
My family are dead, and she's taken an interest in me. But I give you my word that it's been purely platonic.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes, Sergeant Dobson?
Mr. Clarence Byron's lying in his bunk, sir. He says he can't come here. He's got a heart attack.
A heart attack? That's rather convenient, Holmes?
Yes, Watson. And it's also convenient that there's a doctor aboard. Let's go and see him, shall we?
Do you feel any better, Mr. Byron?
Yes, I do, Doctor. That injection you gave me helped. It was digitalis, I suppose.
No, it wasn't. Holmes' heart's perfectly sound. He was simulating an attack.
So I gathered, since an injection of plain water apparently gave him immediate relief.
Plain water?
Yes, your heartbeat was full and regular, and your color normal. So I decided to try an experiment.
And a very successful one. Why did you pretend to have a heart attack, Mr. Byron?
I wasn't pretending. I do have a bad heart.
That I don't doubt. Only a bad heart could prompt you to swindle your brother and then murder him.
I didn't murder him. Though, I can tell you who did.
Oh? You are very eager to shift suspicion, Mr. Byron. Who, in your opinion, murdered your brother?
It's that deckhand, Arthur Coggins. Only a few days ago he threatened my brother's life.
You heard him make the threat?
Yes, I did. It was his second day aboard. It was early in the morning, and I was strolling on deck when I came on this man Coggins, who was standing by the mainmast, practicing throwing a knife. You're pretty handy with a knife, Coggins.
What's that?
I said you're pretty handy with a knife.
Yes. I know how to use a knife.
You think you're going to like being on this ship?
No. Not if I don't get treated like a human being. Just yesterday, the owner yells out to me, "Here, you, whatever your name is, treating me like dirt. Whatever your name is. Can't he find out my name? I'm as good as he is." One of these dark nights, he'll get what's coming to him.
That's what he said, Mr. Holmes. And he looked as if he meant business.
He's an expert with a knife, you say. Holmes, do you think it's possible that Coggins threw the knife through a porthole into the dead man's cabin?
Yes, Watson, it's possible. Your story was interesting, Mr. Byron, though, of course, entirely uncorroborated. I think we'll go and talk to the captain and see if he can supplement your information.
Well, Mr. Holmes, I can't answer for the passengers. That's no business of mine.
I appreciate that, Captain Small, but you'll answer for your crew, no doubt.
That I will, sir. And this man Coggins is a no good if ever I saw one. Insubordinate, surly, always talking about how he's as good and better than those who employ him.
Then why did you engage him, Captain?
I didn't, sir. That was arranged by my employer, Mr. George Byron. If I had my way, Coggins would have gone back ashore the first day he stepped aboard.
Where his...
Great Scott! Was that a revolver shot?
Well, it sounded like it. And it came from the forecastle.
Mr. Holmes! Mr. Holmes!
This way, Sergeant.
Good heavens!
Why, it's Coggins.
With a smoking revolver in his right hand. He's committed suicide.
Yes. Very convincing, isn't it? His head is sprawled on a piece of foolscap. A confession note, no doubt.
Yes, it is. Look at this. I killed him, and with my record, I knew you'd catch me, so I took the quick way out. Case is solved, Holmes.
On the contrary, Watson, it's becoming more involved. If you look closely, you will realize that we now have 2 murders to solve instead of 1. And somewhere on this boat, a murderer is still at large, and may strike a 3rd time.
In just a moment, we'll find out if the murderer does strike a 3rd time. But first, men, If you're bald, you might as well grin and bear it, because science tells us it's impossible to grow hair where the hair roots are dead. But you certainly can make the most of the hair you've got. And men, you can't beat Kreml hair tonic. To help you, Kreml contains very special hair grooming ingredients found in no other hair tonic. That's why Kreml keeps hair neatly in place longer and without that offensive, greasy look. But Kreml does lots more than keep hair looking handsome. Let me repeat, Kreml does lots more than keep hair looking handsome. A massage with Kreml helps stimulate circulation right in the surface of the scalp. Your scalp feels so alive, so invigorated. At the same time, it removes loose dandruff and has a fine lubricating effect on a dry scalp. And for hair that's so dry that it cracks and falls, remember Kreml actually helps condition the hair, in that it leaves it feeling so much softer and more pliable. Men, buy a bottle of Kreml at any drug counter. It's such a nice, clean product you can use it every day so that your hair always looks its best. Kreml, Kreml Hair Tonic. So, Dr. Watson, the apparent suicide turned out to be another of the murderer's victims.
Yes, Mr. Bell. Holmes at once sent Sergeant Dobson to check the passengers while the three of us stood in that tiny cabin, an oil lamp swinging above us and shedding a strange glow on the macabre scene. I asked him why he was so positive that it wasn't suicide.
You will notice, Watson, that the revolver is in Coggins' right hand.
Yes, Holmes, I don't see what...
Then ignore the right hand and observe the left. A deckhand is accustomed to hard manual labor. Notice the calluses on his left hand and the freedom from them on the right.
By Jove, he was left-handed.
Yes, he was, Mr. Holmes. I've noticed him at work.
Again, you'll observe the shot entered his head from behind the right ear. A remarkable feat of dexterity for a left-handed man.
And the murderer had the note ready, shot Coggins from behind, but made the mistake of placing the revolver in the wrong hand.
Precisely. But this note, obviously in disguised writing, poses another problem. What does the phrase, "and with my record, I knew you'd catch me," mean?
He must have had a police record.
But why volunteer the information? I wonder if the murderer had a reason... Captain, you said that Coggins was engaged by Mr. George Byron.
Well, sir, he told me about the new man, but I don't know that he interviewed him personally.
Where was he engaged?
At the Seamen's Hostel, here in the village.
Oh, what are you getting at, Holmes?
Surely it's obvious, Watson. If this man Coggins had a police record, his murderer might have deliberately placed him on this boat knowing he would be suspected. Yes, it's possible. But the question is, who engaged him? Well, Sergeant?
All three of them in their cabins, Mr. Holmes, and swore they hadn't left them.
And yet we know that one of them must have slipped down here and shot Coggins?
Lock them in their cabins, Sergeant. Keep good watch on them. Dr. Watson and I are going ashore.
Ashore? Why, Holmes, when the murderer's here on this boat?
Because I'm convinced that the clue to his identity lies waiting for us at the Seamen's Hostel. Where is the place, Sergeant, and who runs it?
Old Ma Jenkins. It's the house just next to the Red Lion on the quayside.
Splendid. Watson, we're taking this note and rowing ashore.
Another trip in that filthy rowing boat? Must we, Holmes?
It's a fine time of night to rootle a respectable woman out of a warm bed, I must say, and no mistake.
But Mrs. Jenkins...
Call me Ma. Everyone calls me Ma.
Very well. We've come to you because you're the one person who can help solve two murders that took place on the Sally Martin tonight.
Murder? Come into me parlor. I'll light the lamp. There. Now, what's this you say happened aboard the Sally Martin?
The owner, Mr. Barron, was stabbed to death about 10 o'clock tonight. Later on, a seaman by the name of Arthur Coggins was killed, too.
Arthur was killed?
You knew this man, Arthur Coggins?
Of course I did. Over a year he's been staying with me. He couldn't get a ship because of his record.
What record was that?
He brought his ship's papers to me. They all do when they're out of a berth. The last ship he was on 2 years ago it was, he got mixed up in a knife fight.
Oh, did he?
Alaska was killed and Arthur arrested. They couldn't prove he was guilty, but he hasn't had a berth since because it was written in his papers.
That fits into your theory, Holmes. The murderer engaged him deliberately, knowing his record.
Exactly. Mrs. Ma.
That's me.
Do you recall the name of the man who interviewed Coggins?
No.
The man who engaged him for the Sally Martin?
No. But it's here in my book. It's the last entry I made. Here it is.
Clarence Byron.
The brother. There's our man, Holmes.
Could you describe the appearance of Mr. Byron, Ma?
No, I can't say I remember much about it. He was all muffled up. He was a nice-spoken gentleman, though.
You can recall no clue to his identity? It's worth a sovereign to you if you can.
A sovereign? Well, let me think hard. Yes, there's one thing I do remember. He had a gold signet ring on his right hand.
Splendid, Ma. Watson, the case is solved.
Of course it is. Clarence is the man.
May I congratulate you on your powers of observation, Watson. Ma, here are 2 sovereigns for you.
2? But you
The
said...
extra one is for the privilege of borrowing this registry book of yours for a few hours.
No.
I'm taking it back to the Sally Martin with us so that we may compare the handwriting in it with that of a murderer.
Oh, but this is ridiculous, Mr. Holmes. Why should you ask Clarence to sign his name?
Bear with me a few moments longer, Mrs. Byron, and you'll see why.
Blessed if I know what you're up to, Mr. Holmes.
A little patience, Sergeant, and you'll see, too.
Have you any objection to signing your name, Mr. Byron?
I suppose not, though I'm just as confused as the rest of them. There.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Hodgson, I wonder if you'd mind helping us.
Of course not, Mr. Holmes. What can I do?
You saw a forged check. I wonder if you'd try and imitate the signature that Mr. Clarence Byron has just written.
Mr. Byron's signature?
Yes, his writing is extremely individual, but I think you could help prove that under certain circumstances it can be elastic. See how nearly you can imitate it. I think it'll help us to prove that he murdered his brother.
Clarence, you did murder George. I knew it.
Mabel, you're out of your mind.
Will you copy his signature, Mr. Hodgson?
Of course, if you think it'll help you.
Holmes, look.
Hodgson. Sign, please, Mr. Hodgson.
Clarence Byron. There.
Thank you. That's a remarkably fine gold signet ring you're wearing, Mr. Hodgson.
Thank you.
Watson, give me Ma Jenkins' registry book.
There you are, Holmes.
Sergeant, I want you to compare the signature in this book with that which Mr. Hodgson has just given us. I think you'll agree that they're both written by the same man.
They are. Well, blow me down.
So he forged Clarence's signature.
Exactly. He is quite a specialist in handwriting.
Albert, you didn't kill him. You couldn't have done it.
It's no good, Mabel, and you know it as well as I do. You knew what I was up to. You helped me. You suggested that I use Clarence's name.
That's a lie.
A lie or not, Sergeant, I suggest you take out your notebook. They're talking in front of witnesses, so make the most of the fact. The sun's coming up, Watson.
Yes, the sea's calmer, Higgins.
A very satisfactory start to a new day. The confessed murderer and his accomplice, both of them safely in the care of the police.
Yes, I was convinced until we found him murdered that Coggins, the deckhand, was the guilty party.
Exactly what you were meant to think.
I thought that as he was an expert knife thrower, he could have thrown one through a porthole into the dead man's cabin.
No, Watson. Both portholes were at the head of the bunk. But the knife wound was from the underside of the heart and upwards. It would have been impossible to have thrown the knife through a porthole at such an angle.
Yes, I can see it all now. Young Hodgson, coveting his employer's wife, planned a knife murder and then engaged Coggins, knowing that with his record, he'd be the logical suspect.
Yes, but like so many murderers, he tried to be too clever. He left enough clues to hang himself half a dozen times
Why did
over.
Clarence pretend to have that heart attack?
The nervousness of a person who knows himself to be under suspicion. A futile attempt to escape interrogation.
Oh, I'm glad it's all over. I'm exhausted and I'm frozen, and I'm delighted to think that this is my last trip in this horrible rowing boat.
Whereas I'm feeling very stimulated, and in a distinctly altruistic mood.
Altruistic? What do you mean, Holmes?
If you'll observe the flurry of excitement at the quayside, the figures in blue serge that are at this moment embarking in boats, you'll realize that the police from Canterbury have just arrived.
I still don't see how altruism comes into the picture.
I intend to claim no credit in the solution of this crime. And in consequence, I see little reason why our old friend Sergeant Dobson should not very soon be known as Inspector Dobson.
In just a moment, Dr. Watson will tell us something about next week's story. But first, girls, if you want to really make a hit with the boyfriend, here's a beauty tip right out from here in Hollywood. and one which Lovely Powers models were among the first to discover.
Give your hair a 10-minute glamour bath with Kreml shampoo. This amazingly beautifying shampoo has been especially developed so that it actually brings out all the brilliant, natural luster of each tiny strand of hair. Kreml shampoo leaves the hair fairly teeming with highlights.
And don't forget, Kreml shampoo is wonderful for the entire family.
Yes, even in the hardest water, it whips up gobs of rich, luxurious foam, which penetrates right to the scalp and removes all loose dandruff as well as the dirt.
So, ladies, buy the large family size of Kreml shampoo. Kreml. Kreml shampoo, the largest selling shampoo with an oil base. Now, Dr. Watson, what about next week?
Well, now let me see. Next week, I think I'll tell you how Holmes solved a murder with only one clue: the depth to which the parsley had sunk in the butter on a hot summer's day. I call this bizarre adventure The Strange Death of Mrs. Abernethy.
Tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure was suggested by an incident in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, The Reigate Puzzle. Nigel Bruce appeared by permission of California Pictures. Tom Conway through the courtesy of Eagle Lion Pictures. This is Joseph Bell speaking for Kreml Hair Tonic and Kreml Shampoo, and inviting you to be with us next week at this same time when Dr. Watson will tell us about the strange death of Mrs. Abernethy. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Crime does not pay.
For the last time, Matthew, there'll be no bookmaking in my candy store.
Says you, Uncle Dave.
Yeah, says you. Ain't gonna stop us, Uncle.
I'll stop you. I'll have a talk with Officer Conlon.
I wouldn't try that, Uncle Dave.
Stay away from me, you young hoodlum. Stay away. If my brother's boy should turn out like this.
Afraid, Uncle Dave, of your own nephew?
Keep away, you hear? Keep away.
Don't, Joey, you fat wretch. Watch where you're walking, Uncle.
Don't touch me. Don't touch.
Perfect, Joey. Same old teamwork. Right over your back he went. Like we used to do with sissies in school.
Yeah, same old trick. Only he ain't getting nothing. Running away.
Uncle Dave, get up.
Hey, he ain't moving. Must have hit his head. Knocked him out or something.
He hit his head, all right. Hey, we better get out of here. He's dead.
In the interest of citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Murder Makes Book, starring Joseph Wiseman. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joseph Wiseman as Matt Red Thompson in Murder Makes Book. He was born and grew up in a slum. Red Thompson was a boy in the gutter, literally as well as figuratively. There he made friends with Joey Goodwin and Lazy Clayton. They became a unit, those three, and whether their immediate pursuit was tormenting their school teacher as long as they stayed in school, or swiping fruit from an open counter, Red was the leader, Lazy the echo, and Joey the efficient assistant. When they were full grown, the activities changed, but the pattern remained the same. It was Red who planned the escapades, Red who saw no way out for them through legitimate channels, Red who found the easy way to get hold of money. And it was Red who decided when it was time to collect their winnings from a character named Bookie.
Okay, Bookie, pay off.
Yeah, Bookie, pay off.
Okay, boys, you don't have to take it like that. You won, didn't you? So you get the off.
How much?
Nag paid $3.40. Here's the Mazuma.
Hey, not bad at all.
No, not bad.
Should have put up more. Where from? I had to go to the old lady sugar bowl even for this.
Yeah, where from?
You got to put back? I get the old man on me with a strap if I don't.
Hear that, Joey?
Yeah. Okay, so put it back. Still got plenty for change.
Why don't you kids get smart?
We're smart. We ain't working, are we?
Neither am I. But I don't take no risks.
What do you mean?
I pay off to you, see? But for every bet I pay off, I got a dozen I don't pay off on. So you get your $3.40. Me, I get about 10 times that. Even after I pay protection.
Hey, not bad. What protection, Bookie?
To Lou Kingsley. He controls making book in his territory, see? You don't pay off to Kingsley, you wind up in a cement jacket. Maybe I got a racket, see, but Kingsley, 100 bookies pay off to him. Say, $10 a day. That's $1,000 a day in Kingsley's pocket. Catch? Think about it, kids. I will say, I hate to see smart kids getting played for suckers. See you around, boys. Don't take no wooden nickels.
Suckers. That's what we are, suckers.
Yeah, suckers.
Never saw it like that before. Is Bookie any smarter than we are?
He's got more dough.
Any smarter? We can be smart, too.
Sure, we can be smart.
Where we gonna operate? Kingsley ain't gonna let us in his territory. Even Bookie's got an office. Can't take no bets on the street. I got all the answers. Go on, answer. Look, over on the west side, out of this neighborhood, see? I got an Uncle Dave. He runs a candy store with a back room. He's always saying I don't visit him enough. The old dope. The back room, get it?
Yeah, the back room.
Office. Bet you there's even a nickel telephone. There sure is. You know, guys, I think Uncle Dave is going to see a lot of me and you from now on.
Like the new suit, fellas? Not bad, huh?
Yeah, you sure got it cut sharp, Lazy. I don't go for purple suits myself much. I couldn't wear it neither, not with red hair.
Okay, not you, but on me it's good, huh?
You stand out in the crowd, yeah. Hey, Red, how's the collections? Okay, doke. We didn't pay off to nobody yesterday, so we got another C-note in the till.
Hey, when do I get my cut? I got a heavy day tonight.
Not today. We're building up the fund, see? So if we got to pay off, we got some dough to live with. Matthew, I want to talk to you. Uncle Dave. Sure, talk all you want. Tell your friends to get out. Did you hear that, fellas?
We heard it.
Yeah, so what? I guess the fellas don't want to go outside, Uncle Dave. They're comfortable here.
Too comfortable. Want me to say what I have to say in front of them?
Why not? We got no secrets, us guys.
Sure, no secrets.
Okay, now say it right out. When you came here, Matthew, to see me, 3 months 'tis now, I was happy to see my nephew. Now I don't care if I never see you again. Uncle Dave, is that the way to talk to your favorite nephew? If I had another nephew, you wouldn't be the favorite. You a bookmaker? Oh, that's a nasty word, Uncle Dave. I don't make book, not ever.
Sure, not ever.
Yeah, what gave you that idea, Uncle? I'm not your uncle. I'm talking to Matthew. I know what you do. Why you hang around here so much? Why you use the phone every afternoon? It stops. It stops now. What's the matter, Uncle Dave? You want to cut it a tape? I want you to go away. Stay away. Is that the way to talk to your nephew? A nice store, nice people. Children come in all the time. I'll not have hoodlums in the back. Oh, not a nasty word. Oh, this'll get you nothing, Uncle. For the last time, Matthew, there'll be no bookmaking in my candy store. Says you, Uncle Dave.
Yeah, says you.
I ain't gonna stop us, Uncle. I'll stop you. I'll have a talk with Officer Cannon. I wouldn't try that, Uncle Dave.
Stay away from me, you young hoodlum. Stay away. That my brother's boy should turn out like this.
Afraid, Uncle Dave, you're on that.
Keep away, you hear? Keep away.
Down, Joey.
You bet, Red.
Watch where you're walking, Uncle.
Don't touch me. Don't touch.
Perfect, Joey. Same old teamwork. Right over your back he went, like we used to do with the sissies in school.
Yeah, same old trick, only he ain't got nothing. Running away.
Uncle Dave, get up. Hey, he ain't moving.
Must have hit his head. Knocked him out or something.
He hit his head, all right. Hey, we better get out of here. He's dead.
All right, the three of you, sit down.
What for, Copper? We ain't staying that long.
Sit down.
Okay. We're sitting, Lieutenant. Yeah, we're sitting, Lieutenant.
All right, never mind that. I'm no lieutenant till you know it.
Well, maybe we think you ought to be.
Tell that to the commissioner sometime.
Maybe I will. Sometime. Maybe we will.
This I want to see. All right, you, Goodwin.
Oh, yes, sir.
Where were you Wednesday afternoon?
Me? With the fellas.
And you, Clayton?
With the fellas.
Okay. Your turn, Thompson.
I don't remember exactly where we were. Around someplace.
You weren't in your hangout? Uncle Dave's candy store?
Come to think of it, that's one place we didn't go Wednesday.
Well, Andrews? Anything? Nothing, Sergeant. Just the usual. But a little extra fresh. Extra fresh, eh? How'd your baby-faced mugs like a small trip downstairs?
I wouldn't advise it, Sergeant. You got no charge against us.
How about suspicion of murder?
Murder? Who'd we murder, Sergeant?
Your uncle. You know it.
But Uncle Dave fell. He hit his head, and the doctor said his heart gave out. Why, we even went to the funeral.
Well, or was pushed.
But, Sergeant, even if he was pushed, I don't think anyone can prove it. Uncle Dave was all alone in the store.
All right, Sugarmouth. We've had enough. Get out of here.
Yes, Sergeant. Yes, Sergeant. Yes, sir.
Stand where you are. Get this. We've had characters like you in here before by the dozen. You're all fresh and cocky your first visit. After a while, you all come down a peg or two. Finally, you wind up in the precinct tank. Or you get it in the others in your own little rotten rackets. Bear that in mind. Now beat it fast. Funny kind of cops. Let us out like this.
Yeah, funny.
Save it till we hit the street.
Yeah, the house with the green lights. Precinct cops. 2 for a nickel.
They got anything, Red?
They got nothing. Not even brains. Yeah, not even brains.
Maybe we better lay low for a while.
Lay low? Are you crazy? Joey, from now on, we're going to expand. Lou Kingsley, here we come.
Smooth. Nothing to do but count the dough.
Yeah, count the dough. Except when some sucker hits one, then we gotta count it out. So what? So once in a while we get hit, we pay. So the suckers like us, they keep coming back.
Do they, kid? That's good.
Bookie.
Yeah, okay. So you think you're glad to see me, huh? Okay.
Well, you tipped us to this racket, didn't you?
Now I got another tip for you. Straight from the feed bag.
A winner? For the Margaret? Shut up, lady. Keep talking, Bookie.
This is from Kingsley.
Since when you so lovey-dovey with the big shot?
He knows I started you in business, so he sent me.
Yeah? So keep talking.
He wants you out of town.
What are you talking?
Says Kingsley. He also says, and by the way, that your crazy operation has the heat on for everybody, so out. Quick. By tomorrow.
Like this, just like this. Out, he says. So we're supposed to run.
Take my advice, kid. Kingsley's rough to tangle with.
You want an answer?
No. Why should he?
Gonna get one. Now, Joe.
Jack,
How'd you like a little pratfall, Bookie, like this? Let me let him have it, fellas. There are a couple of flat guys. A busted rip back to his boss for our answer. Get out, says Skinny. We're staying, says Red Thompson.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Murder Makes Book. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joseph Wiseman as Matt Red Thompson in Murder Makes Book. Red, Lazy, and Joey left Bookie sprawled on the sidewalk and went about their business. They heard no more from Lou Kingsley, and their operation settled into the usual pattern, expanding in the usual way, until it was the head of an outfit with its own bookmakers in many spots throughout the city. Lazy's main job was collecting the daily tribute. Red and Joey were waiting for him on their usual street corner early one evening.
Lazy a little late. What's the matter? You nervous or something, Joey? Nervous. What for? I don't know. You act like you got an itch or something. Just thinking. Thinking what? It's awful funny. Kingsley never did nothing after we gave the business to Bookie. The cops, they ain't done nothing either. Cops gotta have evidence, which they ain't got. Quit it, Joey. Everything's under control. Even Lazy. Hey, Lazy! Step on it. Joey's got a date tonight. All right, keep your pants on. Hey, look at that crazy bum drive. This is the fire engine. What's the matter, Red? I don't know. Hit the street, Joey. It's Kingsley. They got Lazy. They get you, Joey. They get you. No, not okay. They got Lazy. Let's get it quick. Still breathing, Red? Dead. They got him almost in half. I told you it was funny. Kingsley never did nothing. I told you. Shut up! They get us, too. If we get them first. Get them? Who? Kingsley. No, he gets something. Some joker pulled the cops. Let's go, Joey. Nothing we can do for Lazy now.
Well, come in, Mr. Thompson. Glad to see you again.
Hiya, Doc.
Sit down.
Thanks. Well, Doc, what's the bad news?
Well, there isn't any, young man.
I don't get it.
There's nothing to get. There just isn't any news.
What you said, the lab reports, all the tests and stuff.
Everything's negative. I'd say that was good news, not bad.
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's good news, Doc, but it sure don't stop this bellyache.
We're in the same place, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, only bigger.
Frankly, I don't know what to tell you. There seems to be pain now.
There seems to be. Doc, you don't know. You ain't got it.
Yet our complete examination is negative.
Oh.
You seem to be in perfect health.
But you think I'm making this up?
Such things have happened before. Perhaps a psychiatrist.
Oh, no, not me. Not one of them.
I'm afraid there's nothing more I can do.
Oh, you gotta do something, Doc. You gotta. I can't stand much more.
No, for a young fellow, you seem to worry a great deal about your health.
Oh, you know, my father used to say, when you got your health, you got everything. Oh, Doc, look, maybe a hospital.
What for? As I said, you're not sick.
I ain't sick, but I got pains. Look, I was thinking if they watched me in the hospital, maybe they could find it.
For observation, you mean?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the way.
It's expensive, Mr.
Oh, what do I care for money? Doc, look, give me a room, will you? A private room. Let the docs work over me. Maybe they can find what's making me sick.
Yes, nurse. Until you came in.
What happened to your friend? Mr. Goodwin, I believe his name is.
He beat it. I mean, he left early. He had a date.
He must have been in a hurry. He usually stops at my desk to say goodnight.
Joey got a heavy date tonight. He was in a hurry.
Well, that's all to the good. I can get you settled for the night early. We've a busy floor tonight.
And I'm not so sick?
I don't think you're sick at all. I think you came here just for a rest.
No, you do you? Hey, what's your name? I just can't keep calling you nurse all the time.
Why not? There. Is that better?
Still better if I knew your name.
It's Tabor. You want fresh water in the jug?
Just Tabor, no first name?
Nurses never have first names, Mr. Thompson. Now you go to sleep. Good night.
Okay, Joey, you can come out now.
Hey, that's a cute one. I wouldn't mind staying in the closet if she was in it with me.
All right, save the jokes, Joey. You got the heaters?
Bet your life.
Okay, now keep an eye on the hole outside. As soon as the coast is clear, we'll get going.
How much longer, Red? The dogs are barking something fierce.
Not long.
He dragged me all over town looking for Kingsley. It's 2 a.m. when you found him yet.
He always winds up at the hash house across the street. We just wait here and...
What about the hospital?
Oh, I'm sleeping like a little angel. Nobody go near the room. You heard the dame. We've a busy floor tonight.
But you gotta get back.
I'm safe till 7. Uh-oh. Here's our pigeon. Bookie's with him. Ready?
Ready.
You know the routine.
Don't worry about that.
Okay. Hold tight, Joey. This one's a cinch. All right, Kingsley. Bookie, don't move your hands. Get into that alley.
Oh, it's the kids, boss.
Joey, keep your piece on Bookie. Move, Kingsley.
This way.
Keep going. Don't get too close. Okay, face that wall.
What do you want, Thompson? If it's money...
I don't do ice jobs for money.
Red, don't try nothing. Cut out, Bookie. If it's not money...
It's you. You cut lazy down. Now you're getting it, both of you.
No. I got a wife and kids now. You'll never get away with it. The cops know about you.
They'll never get this on me. You don't know it, Kingsley, but I'm so sick. I'm in a hospital right now. Matter of fact, the way we fixed my bed, it looks like I'm sound asleep, don't it, Joey?
Yeah. Let's get it over with, Red. Stop the gagging.
All right, sure. This bum knows why he's getting it.
Boys, please, I can't do nothing.
Shut up. Now you, Kingsley, right in the kidneys. That's it, Joey. Let's go. I hope you liked that. Getting it in the kidneys broke his back knee, didn't it?
It's a real laugh, Joey, a laugh. I got all the doctors in this joint trying to figure out what's giving me pains, which I ain't got. You sure got a perfect alibi.
I'll leave it to Red, Joey, from now.
Well, how's the patient today? Cops.
Well, Sergeant, or is it Lieutenant by now?
Not yet, but pretty soon. After I get Kingsley's killer. You remember Detective Andrews?
Oh, sure. Hi.
You don't look sick, Thompson.
Oh, but I got terrible pains. None of the docs can find out what it is. Did you say Kingsley's killer, Sergeant?
That's what I said. Kingsley got in the back last night. And Bookie with him.
Well, what do you know? Stuck here in bed and I don't hear anything.
Didn't your pal tell you? I didn't know nothing about it. The papers are full of it.
So he's been here all day with me.
Here with you last night, too?
Joey had a date last night. He left early.
Interesting. Joey could have done it for you. I didn't do nothing. Just had a date. Oh, wait. I don't need no alibi. You leave my girl alone. Where? A little gentleman. Thompson, where were you last night about 2 a.m.?
Right here. The nurse stuck me in around 9. The day nurse woke me up at 7 this morning.
I've had about all I can take. Haven't you, Andrews? Yeah, check, Sergeant. Miss Tabor, will you come in, please? Hey, here it goes, Red.
Hold your horses, Joey. Nothing goes.
Miss Tabor, please tell Mr. Thompson what you told me when I spoke to you a little while ago.
Why, that is... It's a custom here to look in on patients before we go off duty. I checked Mr. Thompson about 1:30 this morning. He wasn't in his bed.
I went down the hall.
But he had the pillows arranged under the blankets to look as if he were in his bed.
Why, you no good, Lee.
Shut up, you. We've got you cold. We talked to your pal's girl before we came here. She never saw him last night. The slugs we took out of Kingsley and Bookie will match your gun. You'll both fry. I only wish I could promise him, Thompson, but one will do as well as the other. Now get up and get dressed. You're sick, you can go back to bed in the prison ward at City Hospital.
You got no case, you got nothing.
Andrews, take the other one downtown. I think we'll get something out of him.
No, I didn't shoot nobody.
He'll burn anyway, whether he pulled the trigger or not.
Sergeant, look, I didn't shoot nobody. But I saw it. I saw everything. I was there.
Shut up, Joey. You want what Kingsley got? Been wanting to suck that punk for a long time. Nurse, you call an orderly. We'll get some clothes on him and start him on his way. Now that his pal has decided to sing.
Crime does not pay. Joseph Wiseman, who was starred as Red Thompson in Murder Makes Book, will be back with you in just a moment. Here in person is Joseph Wiseman.
I think it is worth examining, for a moment, the background against which Red and his friends grew up. It's a sadly familiar background to everyone. A slum with all its rotten conditions. Above all, with all its hopelessness. Of course, we cannot say simply, wipe out slums and we'll wipe out crime and the temptations to crime. But once our slums are gone, a great deal of our crime, certainly the major portion of our juvenile delinquency, will have gone with them. Yes, this will be expensive, but no more expensive in proportion than a successful operation on one individual to remove a malignancy. Meanwhile, to continue the medical metaphor, the palliative costs go on. Police, special courts, property damage and maintenance. Above all, the millions siphoned each year out of channels of legitimate business into the pockets of organized crime. It is true, isn't it? For everyday citizens as well as for criminals, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Wiseman. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Marks B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Garth. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turkis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.